this is the schedule we have for that. Good to go.
All right. We'll go ahead and call the special call meeting to order, Wednesday night, June 3rd. Madam Clerk, if you would, call the roll, please.
Squire Stump. Squire Harris.
Here.
Squire Eldridge.
Here.
James Travis.
Here.
Squire Travis. Squire Cotton.
Here. All right, we have Jim and Mike that are absent. If you would, let's, we deserve it, owe it to our country, and in my opinion, to our Lord. So let's open with a prayer and then we'll do the pledge. We thank you, Lord, for the night that you've given us. We thank you for everyone that's here. We thank you for the opportunity that we have to give back to our county, give back to the world we live in. Help us make the best decisions to do what you would have us to do. Go with us tonight. Forgive us our sins. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
You would, so much the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. We'll get right on down, special call meeting, so we stick to the agenda. We have a Matthew Lee appointment. I'll turn the floor over to Corey.
Yep, we have a new hire with our office, Matthew Lee. So Phil, I believe the title here is legal secretary. He's got a background with Capital Court Authority, which probation monitoring company district court we've had, and also has a business background, which will help with financials and keeping those up to date as we go. The appointment would be, if possible, retro to 6/1, is when it started, and then salary basis, $15,000 a year. I think it's a little under than what was under the current salary level for that position.
So there's really no effect on finances.
There may have been some transfers for, I think, utilities and copying, so maybe look at that for the next regular meeting, but let me know, have your office do it, maybe we can work on that as necessary, but especially for next fiscal year, it'll be lower than what the current amount is for that position. So.
All right. What's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve the hiring of Matthew Lee, pending all hiring.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Zach, second by Dan, to approve hiring of Matthew Lee to work in the county attorney's office, starting at 6/1 when he started at 15 a year. Any discussions? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Tax.
What did you say his title was or his position?
It may be legal secretary, is what it's currently. I'd have to look at the line item in the budget. Okay. Automatically former position.
Okay. All right. All right, next we have a tax board appointment. I checked with some folks. Trevor Brown said he would serve. So if the court agrees that would be a good appointment for this board. I know they're fixing to meet later this month. Entertain a motion to approve Trevor Brown to the tax board.
Motion to approve Trevor Brown to the tax board. Second.
All right, motion by Will, second by Zach to approve Trevor Brown to the tax board. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. This next.
He set out the appropriate number of years they've got to sit out, so
Lynn, I did not ask that question. He just said he had served before. So I know someone with real estate knowledge is what you're after. So when he said he would do it, I thought that was good. Yeah, go ahead.
I just have a question for you, Corey. I have two line items. One is county attorney secretary, and that was $18,000 general budget. The other one is county attorney assistant salary at 15,500.
So, I think it's the 18.
Because there's 4,062.77 left in the current fiscal year.
Okay.
So you should be good, because I think we worked at like a little over 1,000 a month.
Yeah.
All right, good deal. Thanks, Sherry. This number 3, I saw on Facebook that Louisiana, is putting some sort of ban in turning balloons loose. We don't have to take any action tonight, but I wanted to bring it up in open session for us to consider. I've never liked those candle lanterns that people light and float away. I'm scared to death they're gonna burn my wheat field up, burn the woods. And then when you let balloons loose, they do harm wildlife, or they can. They can get caught in power lines. Cattle do choke on balloons. And if this court would like to consider a resolution of some sort, I know that if Louisiana is doing it as a state, I guess Kentucky could potentially do it. And unless somebody tells me different, I don't know that we could do something. So we don't have to take any action. I just wanted to bring it to the floor. Anyone has any thoughts?
Wouldn't that have to go through the ordinance process?
Probably, yeah. And that'd be fine. It's, basically if it's something y'all want to tackle, there was interest in the community, someone had a Facebook post about it, and,
I think it's a good idea. I mean, they do cause a lot of harm to wildlife and also farm animals.
Yeah.
They'll eat them. And,
Plus,
they had the Mylar balloons will cause a power outage if they hit the right spot on electrical lines. So,
well, what I fear about, especially the ones that are bright and glittery, that hang around, they'll hang around till next year.
that's the Mylar.
Okay. And, but I'll see them in the soybean field, and if I run it up in my machine and it chops it into pieces, and a piece of that balloon is in my soybean sample, and when I take it and they sample it and they catch it, they can reject my load. And then, if they ship it to China or whoever who hopes buying their beans, and something is found in the load, they can reject the whole whole cargo. So, I haven't heard that happening. I have heard of pieces of Coke bottle being found and loads being rejected. So, it's just something to consider, and that's why I wanted to bring it to the floor, so the community would know it was something we were discussing. And we may take action down the road, y'all just let me know. That's all on it. The zoning resolution is something similar, that I just wanted to bring up for discussion. We have seen where, data centers have came into communities, and a lot of the community is against, data centers. They are required, I did some research locally here, you have to be I-1 for those to come in, and we have limited I-1 property in our community. But we do have a comprehensive plan that might need to be looked at. But basically, I'm just sharing with the court that if they share feelings that it is something that we need to look at so we can get it right in our community, and not have some of the issues other communities have, that we may need to look at our comprehensive plan and see. We talked about the solar farms, and we worked on those and created I guess the environment that suited us to where it wouldn't take all of our farmland up and so forth with that. But this may be something that we look at also. Basically, it's just a topic for discussion. I may have some activity on the next meeting to address this. I need to get some advice on how to draft potential change.
Planning and zoning board, you think, what the blueberry comprehensive plan, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good time to nail it down. I mean, I think we're gonna be a little bit more
stringent require on, I don't want a data center in the county, so.
Yeah.
We require that.
So, but I just wanted to bring that up again to get, so we can get our heads rolling, together, going together in our community to be aware that we are looking about, addressing those. I did have a conversation with a fellow the other day out of state. I think he was kind of dipping his toe in the water here. And, he had some properties that he was somewhat interested in. Of course, they're zoned to agriculture, ones he was looking at. And I think he was hoping to find industrial land. And I've asked Ashley, and we're very limited on our industrial land. I would be speculating if we had 50 acres or more in several parcels. So they need, some of them they started out 1,000, 2,000 acres, and they're getting down to 300 acres. But still, 300 acres on the eye, we don't have it. And I told the fellow, we don't have it. So, anyway, that's, something we need to bring up that we'll have on the radar for the future. Number 5, the Land and Water Conservation Grant. I spoke a little about it at our last meeting, about, pursuing it when the time comes and we need to get some prices. And I want to just basically have some, about for a splash park, some conversation. We have that area over there, and I feel like everyone has landed on, if we do one, that's a good place to put it. Are we good with that? Over there by our farmer's market? And as big as the area is, and the Land and Water Conservation Grant, you can get up to $1 million, but then you need to have a match. And potentially that grants, we can apply for it. You can apply for it so many days after you apply for this, and not before. And we did get approved on our request last year for Ray Jewel 2.0 with the grants, but then they didn't approve the land and water, so it all went down the drain. But since other counties have done the splash park, y'all are good with, we'll get the prices together for what it would cost. I think maybe you and Mike had already discussed that. But we'll check in on that again, and we could probably add a playground there that's similar to Ray Jewel or Waterford. And anything else, I know Jim has always talked about some pickleball courts. The more I watch them on TV, the more simple they look like. That it would be some inexpensive fun. So we potentially could roll all that into one project and get all of it funded if we get approved for both those grants. And I think there's a solid chance we can.
I was just up in Georgetown, and they are in Lexington. They've already built one. It's got 50 pickleball courts, and they're building another one.
50.
50.
And they got enough players to use 50, so they'll build more.
That's a lot.
So, but basically, if we would like tonight, we can vote to pursue a land and water conservation grant and other grants to construct our splash park and other recreational activities out by the pavilion.
So moved.
All right, have that motion by Zach. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Dan, to pursue land and water conservation as well as other grants to construct a splash park and recreational facility over behind the pavilion. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. All right, we will get that started. Under Deputy Judge, Corey may correct me here. We have the agenda, so we can only talk about agenda items. They don't have to be in that order.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna jump that one. All right, okay, procurements change over 50,000. That is a new, rule that they voted in this year, but we have to put it in our, policy. And I get the policies all mixed up, so I'm gonna rely on Sherry and Corey and Cheryl to help me with the policies. The procurement policy is under which?
It's in the administrative code. So
Okay.
chapter 6, section 1, the changes that were just adopted by the most recent ordinance, set it at 40,000, which is what was current. Also including, language that the threshold shall match that established by the applicable Kentucky revised statutes, including not limited to KRS 424.260. So once that takes effect in belt and suspenders approach, we could probably vote to amend the administrative code for that number, but we've got it at least so that it tracks any sort of legislative changes. Particularly with the amount of inflation I mentioned, it's going to be not long before they raise it from 50 to 60. Just the way that trends have gone. So
Actually, they said keep the Thursday that it has an automatic jump, but it don't jump until maybe 2030.
okay.
And then it starts jumping again, so.
Yeah.
So they do have that address, so do you guys think we're covered for now?
I think for now, and then again, once, I don't know if there was an emergency clause with that provision, or if it'll just take effect like every other law change on July 15th, but if after July 15th we want to address it, just to have the admin code updated with the most recent number, we can do it at that time.
Well, we're really trying, and with Sherry's help and so forth, we're really trying to make sure our procedures are current, which is actually why we're having this meeting tonight, to get this covered, and it's very handy when the auditors come call that you have the policies in place. All right, next on the agenda is the personnel policy changes. I'll turn the floor over to Sherry, Cheryl, and Corey. Not putting you on the spot, Sherry. So. This is. That's one package.
I'll do the rest of it, so.
Well, I know, I'm sorry.
We will
share this one.
Then we have the whole context of one of our meetings.
Yes, yeah. It should be in the email that Kate had
It's,
sent.
yeah, it's
Oh, should we?
it's attached.
Or Tuesday. Okay. That'd be in there.
Where do you want to start at, Corey?
I think there was only a brief change in chapter 1, section 1, kind of the last paragraph. There's a new line added, and there's a new portion of the sentence. It previously said in no instance shall these policies supersede the Kentucky revised statutes. We put in it and or Kentucky administrative regulations. If there's something that passed down from Frankfurt, obviously, they're most of the time acting with the express authority from the General Assembly, so just adding that. Let's see, section 2, I don't think there's any change, or I don't think there's any change. Section 2, section 3, equal employment opportunity, that was unchanged.
Section 2, does section 2 talk about the definitions of the part-time, full-time positions and stuff like that?
Not under chapter 1. I'm still under chapter 1.
Oh, I thought you were in chapter 2.
Oh, no.
My bad.
So we're under chapter 1, section 2.
There we go.
I was lost myself.
Okay.
I was just thinking about pages.
Yeah, pages, I agree, numbers would be handy.
If you look at the top, when you open it, it'll take like 9 of 174. I don't know if you're all, it's got that.
I made a copy of it, doesn't say anything at the time.
I found where we're at, responsibility and authority.
Okay. All right, we got you, Corey, go ahead.
Scope of coverage, this language was added to match a lot of the changes took inspiration from Hardin County and some other counties, which the current iteration of the personnel policy, I believe, was taken from Hardin County at that time, but there's not been any substantive changes since then. It adds poll workers as well to the precinct election officers as to whom this does not apply to, and then independent contractors as well for the personnel policies, because if they're not employees of the county, you know, they're not bound by the personnel policy. Otherwise, in chapter 1, I don't believe there are any other changes of substantial nature.
Okay. Chapter 2.
Yeah, chapter 2 is employment. The new section 1 talks about employment administration. Judge executive shall appoint the employees of the county for ratification of fiscal court when necessary. Discusses full-time and part-time positions, having job description, and then judge executive having the authority to hire temporary personnel for a period not to exceed 30 days without the prior approval, or without the approval of fiscal court, and without an emergency declaration. Personnel files shall be maintained either by the supervisor or department head for each employee, containing records applicable to the employee, and responsibility of the employee to provide current information which may affect his or her job status, payroll deductions, benefits, or other matters. One new section, and it kind of jumped around. There were different sections added. A lot of this information is already included, but a new employee, if they are not a high school graduate, they'll have 12 months from the date of hire to obtain his or her GED. It shall not apply for any employees employed prior to July 1st, 2026. And, you know, it's just, if they don't have it, they've got to make sure that they get that certification within a year from the date of hire.
That's for a new employee.
Yeah, new employee. If a new employee is not a high school graduate, they'll have 12 months from the date of hire. So
H.
Yeah.
Is that normal in the work world?
It was.
What?
It was. It wasn't previously in our personnel policy, but that was something that in Hardin County and some of the other counties were drawing from some of these changes to include that language in there.
I mean, I don't know why that is necessary. I mean, it would be good, but totally necessary. Is there a good reason why it's totally necessary? I mean, I might be in the minority.
I don't know, a lot of good people, great workers, could finish the 8th grade. Not saying it's good, but
So it's up to the court. You want to move?
I don't like H.
Okay.
That's just me.
Corey, before you might follow up, I don't want to fight hearing it.
Yeah.
Out.
And I don't want to, because I'm in here in the reverb
Okay.
already, so
Okay,
I didn't know.
turn it down a little. Just-
Can I ask you a question about F? The part where it talks about the availability and the job openings.
Hmm.
Whose responsibility is it to do all of these things? With the department that had the opening?
I would say, yes, this is a job openings that become available. And I'm trying to adjust. Can you still hear me, Dan? Okay. You know, if this is a department that is under the fiscal court rather than an independent, or, you know, like our office, Lynn's office, sheriff's office, you know, I would imagine it would be within either department head to come up with a job description or someone in the judge's office. You know, a lot of that information I think is going to be included in the job posting. I'm not entirely certain with what's typically done. If there's, say, an opening in Parks Department, you know, I imagine there would be descriptions of some of the duties that would be expected of the position, so it would kind of track with that.
Right, I don't know the
Posting to the paper.
Yeah, who's
Oh,
doing the
okay.
posting and all of the things, like, is that, do you know, Scott, who does that now?
Well, like Robert, I know he takes care of his, and I think Andrew takes care of his. And I know Lynn, I guess, takes care of hers. And then I guess we do the rest of it.
Like the road
Probably.
department?
Well, Corey takes care of his. We do the rest of it.
So we would be responsible for posting the jobs for the road department, parks.
Correct.
Correct.
Maintenance.
Do we have, do you think we need to specify that in the policy?
I don't think most of the event job in the newspaper makes.
Y'all got it online.
It would be a special position like that, probably the sheriff's office.
Well, and it's,
Probably.
yeah, so it shall be posted to current county employees, but it may be advertised in the local newspaper. And a lot of newspaper notices, we could change that to be, posted on the county website. But, well, it's later on in there, be posted at the entrance of the judge's office on the county website and other such places where the fee has been inspected. So, with it being May in the local newspaper, which, nobody knows with the nature of the industry, how long newspapers will be around physical print copies. It allows for those postings, in those places where it's conspicuous and expected for hiring.
So it's going to be posted on the county website, there's only, people have access to post it, so we do the judge's office have post those positions for all of us.
So, we're gonna have the department head, prepare something, send that to the judge's office for, get with the website vendor to get that updated.
Can you put something in there that allows, like if Robert wants to post it to the county website, I think Robert has access, he gets it approved, and then Robert can post it after he's approved it at the judge's office.
However you want to do it, I'm just bringing up that I don't have access to do it myself. I don't have that.
That's what I'm saying, it needs to be approved through the judge's office.
I don't know if you have access to the website.
I mean,
And
it's
the
gonna,
problem with, if you have half dozen or more people access to the website, too many cooks in the kitchen, potentially.
Well, if it has to be
Make sure.
approved by our office anyways, when it comes up to be approved, once it's approved, then you can just turn around and post it rather than send it back to him and tell him to post it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the access is set up for like LinkedIn or, Infusion or whatever.
it makes sense that it be a function for the judge's office.
Or is the F worded satisfactory?
Okay. So back to,
I was just clarifying.
okay. So back to H, are we keeping that in or striking that?
I don't think it should be in there.
I don't like it.
The H is GED requirement under section 1 of chapter 2. Or high school, if they don't have a high school diploma.
I kind of feel like the jobs that need that required already anyway, like.
Right.
Yeah, for our certification, we have to have it, and then for law enforcement, we have to have it, so.
Yeah.
Those positions that require it, it's already there, there's no.
Yes.
I think to get a CDO, you have to have.
If you don't already, you probably will,
Yeah.
because of reading proficiency.
So.
All right.
We're down on the policy, Mike.
If you look at the page numbers at the top, on the document, page consent, we're on page 11, section 4 right now. There's not page numbers at the top.
Page what?
11 and 74.
Basically, we've kind of agreed that a GED is not required to work for the county. Well, if you got one, that's great, but if you don't have one, we're not gonna make you get one.
Okay. So, and
Sounds like you already decided it, so.
back to paragraph about the job postings. In the current iteration of the personnel policy, chapter 2, section 4, it has announcement of vacancies, and it kind of covers a lot of those, that language already, publicized via posting at the judge executive's office, county website at minimum, and notices shall list the vacant position. So it's kind of just reordering some deck chairs.
Okay.
As it relates to the job posting availability information.
All right, I think we're good. Keep on rolling.
Section 2, conditions of employment. Again, reiterates that employment with the county is at will. An employee or the county may terminate the employment relationship during or after the initial or probationary period for any lawful reason or for no reason at all. Introductory period, there's an initial introductory period of 90 days. That way, if it's if they're appointed to either full-time or part-time position, they shall serve that introductory period for 3 months, and then for seasonal or temporary positions, they'll serve that as well. And then promotional is for when there's an employee who's served an initial introductory period and they're promoted from within the county to a new position. They're going to have that promotional introductory period in that new role. And during that promotional introductory period, they shall participate in the county employment retirement system. Just making sure that that language is tracking and following.
I have a question about what about an employee who is a part-time employee who promotes to a full-time position? Do they do a normal probationary period before they start participating in the retirement system because they're now in a completely new type of position?
So are they were already employed under that scenario? So I would think that if they are already employed and they're being promoted, there's that promotional introductory period, so they're participating. That answers the question.
Yeah, but will they start getting retirement before the 90 days is up? Because she's saying they're a part-time employee, not taking benefits. They get promoted to full-time, with benefits would kick in instantly or in 90 days.
Okay.
Is our new employees, a full-time employee, eligible for benefits right away or not?
It depends on the benefit. So the benefits, retirement, you have to complete your probationary period for 90 days before you start participating in retirement. But with regard to the other benefits, it's usually like if you start the first of 1 month, then you're eligible for the first of the next month.
I think you're doing the same. Myself.
Okay.
Retirement's already said, they're not going to get into it. If you become a full-time employee from part-time, you still don't have to wait that 90 days.
That's what I was clarifying, because right now, the way that it states it is they would start retirement immediately.
Yeah. So that section is
I'll just add it. Transferring from part-time to full-time benefit requirements are the same.
All right. Moving on, while serving that the initial introductory period, while serving the initial introductory period, they may be dismissed at any time without right to it. If they're serving a promotional introductory period, they may be reinstated to the position that they were promoted or transferred from. So if they're in that new role, the department head determines within that promotional period that they're not a good fit, then they're going to be reinstated back to that position so long as it's in that probationary period.
You say they have to be, or
They may be reinstated. So if they're in that introductory,
which means they may not as well.
yeah.
If they get fired within the first 3 months,
They may.
May.
Yeah. It's not a requirement.
Because if the
They're-
position has already been filled and there's not another place to put them back to, then you're not forced to keep them on.
That leaves it as a possibility that if that position, if there is a position that's available, remains available after that promotional period is still ongoing, they may be able to get back in. It's not going to completely foreclose them from going back to that position. During the introductory period, the form's going to be evaluated by a supervisor or department head, and then based on that evaluation, determination made by judge executive as to whether or not they need to continue the introductory period. Introductory period may be extended for an additional 3 months if it's a role that they need to learn work, and there needs to be additional time to evaluate the effectiveness of the work being performed. And it's capped in that extension is no longer than an additional 3 months than the introductory period.
How does that, how does meeting that requirement happen? Is there a process around that? Because today we don't have a process for, like, we don't send something to Scott to sign, right? Today,
You can let it
for probation period. Well,
Oh,
because
when
this says
it's
the
over.
judge executive, because the current one says something similar, that the judge executive after completion of the initial probation period, you basically signing off saying, okay, you're no longer on probation, you've met your probation period. And there's not really a description of what process that needs to be in order for that to meet that requirement.
So,
Okay. And where they're for it.
yeah.
So,
So- Supervisor makes a recommendation, and there was a host of forms that can be sent prior to the May 1st meeting. One of those forms is an employee evaluation form, and to be completed by supervisor, department head, or judge executive, and, evaluates them based on this, in a skilled and professional manner. They produce a high quality of work on time. They use time well, efficiently organized, they plan to report everything's well received, they follow professional standards, demonstrates talent for creativity, new ideas, or capability to adapt to new developments, and then, based on, there's also personal characteristics. They arrive to work, they don't waste time, they don't know themselves and others.
you said we do have that form now, and that's been talked about a lot, so.
I believe I sent it during, before the May 1st when we kind of introduced, and I can send those again. But there will be, and as it relates to forms, I know there has been forms in the past. I've not seen, I've never had a copy of any current forms, so I don't know what's in effect. I've not seen any on the website, so kind of recreate the wheel on some of it, but also I think Shelby County has a lot of forms that we were borrowing from in terms of making sure that there are the procedures and kind of the objective criteria in terms of whether they're doing the job well. And those forms, again, I can send if I need to, but they'll be, if adopted, they'll be included as an attachment to the personnel policy.
And then so once we get the form from whoever, the supervisor or department head of the employee, we give it to Scott and then we put it on the just before agenda for ratification.
Yeah, we kind of, Sherry,
We've been working on that form for 3 years.
Really?
putting, yeah, this is a good,
This is
good
just,
job security for you.
this is just promotional reason, right? This ain't just pre-existing full-time employees, right?
Well, it'd be people that we just hired that's under the 90 days.
But you still ain't get, there's nothing, when you said no language about evaluating pre-existing.
Well, yeah, but I sent the same form.
We may get to that a little later,
Okay.
but, basically, we'll need assistance. We'll need assistance.
We'll get that next week.
Yeah, we'll need assistance in, someone pointing out that, John Doe has reached his 90 days and.
I have a list on.
Okay, that's good.
We have one that will come up to them in the next fiscal court meeting.
Okay.
That will be a couple of days after that, they will complete. So I'm like, do I bring it to fiscal court the time right before they complete or right after?
I would prefer that we just play how busy the agenda is, and, I don't know that it would matter if it was 12 days afterwards versus 3 days early.
I have faith that Sherry will be good at this point.
Yes, yes,
I'm a process follower, I was gonna say.
yeah.
Yeah, we figured that out already, that's just.
So, yeah, I think we'll have this covered and it'll work quite well.
Okay.
And back to, so we'll cover it in advance. We've had these discussions before about employee evaluations. And I have folders over there on folks. And a lot of times, I mean, I don't know if they like my answer, that suits them the best. But I think it's a good answer, for now. And I think it's worked okay, but whenever we have issues with someone, you know, that's when I start a folder and so forth. But if people are doing their job, I try to go visit and I see that they're doing their job. So as far as, I mean, I know that we have to follow our policy, and now that I'll have someone to help with the policy even more. And I know I'm on camera and that's okay because it is what it is, but you know, I've always believed that as long as people's doing their job and things is working good, as far as just checking boxes on the form is one thing, and I know legal might think different, but as long as everything's going good, to me, that's a clean paper and file. And then when we have problems, then we need to file. But I may need to strengthen that up from where I've been doing. They have been advising me.
So, when you're talking about, just doing your regular employee evals, typically those are done quarterly, and then you have a yearly one. And most places that I've ever been, we have strict mandated, you meet with your supervisor every week one-on-one. And so they're discussing with you what's going on, what your expectations are, you know, how you're doing, blah, blah, blah. And then you have your formal quarterly evaluations, because at the beginning of the year, they've laid out, here's your goals, here's what I expect of you over the next year. And so every quarter, you're like, how am I doing on those goals I'm supposed to meet by the end of the year? And then by the time you get to the end of the year, then you get evaluated based on those quarterly, how you've done up to that point. And the reason that they do that is because it forces you to document things throughout the year that you'll forget about by the end of the year. And when you're doing that on a regular basis and you have an employee who's not meeting their requirements, there's a lot of legal reasons around putting somebody on a performance plan or a PIP is what we always call it.
We've done some of those.
But you can't, legally, you can't just put somebody on a PIP. You have to give them warning. You have to give them all, according to all of our HR laws, you had to give them every opportunity to do the job correctly. And then once you've warned them once, and then you've had a written warning second time, then you can put them on a personal improvement plan. And then if they can't adhere to the rules of the personal improvement plan, then they're terminated. That way they've had every possible scenario to be successful.
Kentucky is an at-will employment state. You can fire somebody for a good reason, bad reason, or morally indefensible reason, so long as it's not an illegal reason.
But if you give a reason, you have to be able to prove the reason.
Which is why I recommend that you don't give a reason. Your services are no longer needed.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that
We're gonna shoot for an annual one.
an annual evaluations are fine. I think you could have a drop file on the employee. If something comes up as the supervisor, I would expect you to write a memo to the file or something, have a drop file so that when you do your annual evaluation, you pull that employee's drop file and say, okay, anything I've noted throughout the year. If there's a fear that you're going to forget something big, you do not have to have any of that to do a performance improvement plan. If I think your performance is sufficient, I can tell you we're going to go on a performance improvement plan. These are the factors that you're going to follow. And then we'll usually set 30, 60, or 90-day review depending on the seriousness of the issue and how quickly the court wants to see a review of that performance improvement plan.
That's good.
I'm just telling you from a corporate perspective, when you have a giant personnel department, there's all kinds of things that we have to follow in order to adhere to their strict guidelines because of the many lawsuits they've faced in every.
And I appreciate that. I've done labor and employment law for 28 years now, and I represent some fairly large corporate employers, including like in the top 10 size-wise in the country. So I appreciate that, but I feel confident that the way that we are doing it is defensible legal. Okay.
You're the attorney.
We'll find a happy medium here.
Right.
So we're on page 14, so.
Well, no, I
That's
have
half pages.
Yeah,
Oh, it's because.
we're good. And this could be addressed here a little later, and we'll chat about it a
I was
little
gonna
more.
say, when we were going through the
Yeah.
administrative code, there were things that we were talking about. It's like, oh, you need this, and then we fiddle on down through it, and oh, lo and behold, there it is. So,
Well, I took, advice of what Squire Eldridge pointed out about doing these annual baby steps.
Yeah.
We can do that. Okay, go ahead, Corey. Thank you all. Good discussion.
Yeah, I was trying to find the line version. I think the definition of full-time position is unchanged compared to what's in the current personnel policy, 37.5 hours per week. Participate in the CBRS program, part-time position. As we added the language that's less than 37.5 hours per week on average. They work fewer than 100 hours per month. They won't be eligible for kind of benefits package as designated by law. And two types of position. There's one that's a defined work schedule, which is planned work over a fixed period of time, more than 100 hours a month. They must complete their introductory period, but then they'll participate in the CBRS system. Undefined work schedule, they're not, it's pretty self-explanatory, they're not the fixed work schedule. That's the bill needs. A part-time employee who works more than 100 hours is eligible to participate in county benefits, except vacation time, sick leave, provided that they pay 100% of the premium for health insurance, dental insurance, vision insurance, and life insurance, and that's tracking with what's currently in the policy. And then part-time employee who works more than 100 hours per month with no defined work schedule, again, must participate in CBRS following the completion of the probationary / initial introductory period.
I thought we added a part about elected official positions.
I think that's
scope of coverage does not apply to, if you look at section 4 of chapter 1, scope of coverage does not apply to all elected officials.
But the problem is that when you're talking about benefits and stuff, elected officials fall into that. So are you saying that the elected officials are no longer, we no longer give them benefits, or? So in order to do that, we have to determine that this position as an elected official has these benefits available to them. And then because we have a problem with elected officials who don't work directly or 100% for the county and don't even make enough money in their check to cover any possible,
Yeah, and that might be like some of Robert's folks. Or some of your part-time folks.
we need to specify that if your check doesn't even cover the kind of insurance you want to choose, then you can't. You need to get it elsewhere. I don't want to be what do you call it, a collections person going after people to get the money that they owe the county for their benefits they want.
I think that's in chapter 5. I think we added that language on the insurance portion.
Okay.
I'll apply that for.
Can we not just say, like I thought we were right now, part-time employee doesn't qualify for anything?
I would prefer that because if you tell them that a part-time employee who works a certain amount of hours has the ability to purchase their own, insurance through our group plan, that's fine, but then they need to have a specification that their check has to be able to cover it. If their salary can't cover what they want, then they can't. We're not gonna be a collections agent for.
Yeah, so, part-time position, again, with the percentages of the health insurance premium, that's tracking with what's currently with that. We can add to, let's see, section 3, B, 2A, so it's, there. We can include that language that provided, however, that their salary must be enough to cover 100%, cover 100% of the premium. So, part-time employee who works more than 100 hours eligible to participate all kind of benefits except vacation time, sick leave, provided he or she pays as follows: health insurance, dental vision, life, 100% of the premium, and that 100% of that premium can be covered by their wages.
Or would it be easier for them just to do like that work? Do work.
Again, that is a policy decision for the court. That's what's in there. If somebody wants to purchase a plan or have a
Do we have any part-time employee that takes any of this?
We
I
do,
do dental.
we do.
I don't think we should take it away, but we have employees taking it.
Would it be easier just to have two classifications as a permanent part-time and then a PRN? Like part-time as needed is not eligible for anything, but a part-time person that has a permanent schedule.
It doesn't help my.
Well, I think court's on the right track. Just put that clause in the end, just make sure that, you can take whatever premiums that you want at 100% as long as it doesn't exceed what your wages are. So. Sounds good. Not very, okay. Because, I think that's gonna be a very rare occurrence, and you can probably cover it with that one offer.
I mean, we really need to make sure that nobody part-time works more than 100 hours a month. Because really, they're not part-time anymore, right?
Right.
Well, let's talk about that.
let's see.
I'm going to suggest.
We are a special classification of
Right.
legal, and, yeah.
Hey, y'all are just legal here, this is the court meeting. Ain't that what you just said, something like that, Troy?
I don't have an opinion on whether or not the court wants to do that at all. For me, it was more the way that it was currently written.
Yeah.
It is difficult to manage.
I think you brought up a good point.
It's difficult for you to chase down money if it's not there.
Right.
And that's what I meant with that language added.
Yeah, add that language and
It shouldn't be in a position, if you do come into that position, then I think that they would not be eligible for those benefits, because their wages would be sufficient.
I think typically it would only probably come up in the instance of health insurance, frankly, because the other insurance coverages are so
Typically, so.
de minimis that it.
Today, the only employees that need that do take it, that are real part-time full on for the county, they're just doing like life insurance and stuff, and it's minimal.
Right.
But the one employee that I have an issue with is an elected official, and they get like $50 and they want health insurance, and I can't.
Section 4, I don't know if there's been the addition under section 4, paragraph 3, a new employee orientation. They'll meet with the county treasurer. There's going to be set second Monday of the month. If there's a new employee, they'll meet with Sherry or down the road, 1 year from now, 30 years from now, whatever. Whoever's, if there's if their office grows and there's a specified HR person who can do at that point. basically, there's a set time that way. There's not any guesswork in terms of, well, we get a copy of the personnel policy, or there is a drug-free and alcohol-free workplace, and making sure that you have all the necessary forms for the payroll, they have all the necessary forms for all the acknowledgements that are required. So that was added in there. Let's see. And then I don't believe there's any other changes in section 4 there. That was, just for reference, that was section 12 under the common policy. Change of duties, it's talking about the transfers between departments reporting to the judge executive, and that is separate apart from sheriff's office, clerk's office, PDA, not reporting to the judge executive. Let's see, promotion language unchanged, demotion language, I believe also been unchanged. And then resignation, termination, looking at the old language, that looks to be unchanged as well.
I do have one question that came up recently. So the resignation termination section B, when an employee who resigned doesn't give 10 working days notice, currently it says you can't pay out vacation and personal days, but unfortunately we have a policy to allow people to accrue comp time, and it gets grouped in with their personal because we have nowhere else to put it. And so because that is actually overtime they earn, we have to pay it. And so I would have to pay all personal days at the very least.
You could pay, there may need to be a way to track the difference then.
There, in our system, without creating manual spreadsheets, which I just am not going to do, the system only has 3 slots. It's sick, personal, and vacation. And so personal is where the comp time ends up getting put at in the system. And I can track, like, I made a comp time, I put it there, but there's not currently a report that tells me how much comp versus personal exists.
Is that a programming issue that somebody can change or no?
It's a system.
It's a
Different system.
It's
We rolled
fiscal.
all that together.
We'll put this
Months
new
ago,
system
or
in place.
just-
It's fiscal
So you're
soft.
either gonna be stuck with paying out potentially more than you want, or figuring out a way to separate it out.
Yeah, because fiscal soft is where we do is how we do our pay, and it's a limitation.
I get it. I didn't know if it was a programming thing that somebody could go in and change.
I wish.
Or we can change the wording in here to specify.
You can't track it separately, so you're gonna pay out nothing.
You're either gonna have to
You have to
track
pay
it
out comp
separately
time,
or pay it,
yeah.
you have to pay out the comp time, so you're either gonna have to track it separately, keep it, even if it's outside of the system, if that's the court's
Well, let me
decision,
ask you this,
or just pay it all out.
how many personal days roll over, actual personal days?
It's in the city. What's the category?
But
It's
you
like
still,
Prego spaghetti, it's in
Yeah, so we've got,
I guess you don't know though, through the year, if you're 6 months in, you can't see how many personal days someone has took at Sandy.
I can tell how many personal days someone's taken.
Well, if they leave and say you're 6 months in and they've took, how many personal days do we get a year? Actual personal days?
Depends on how long depends on your.
Can you
length
just
of
subtract
service.
that number, whatever the actual personal days they haven't took out of the payout? And then you're just
The
paying.
problem is
comp
we allow it, so they store it up so much.
Yeah.
So
time? But
in
if
the way that
actual personal days don't roll over,
You could make them though, just like you do with FMLA, you could make them designate their comp time first. You could have a hierarchy of how the time is.
well, and one of the forms is for, comp time, they have to elect within a 3
right, I think you guys,
well, so we signed another 1-year contract, and I think in the next year, you're a whole lot more savvy at this than we are. I can already tell, you should find a software company that works with what we do.
the reason that we're
If we ain't gonna get
fiscal
rid of
pay,
comp time, you probably love that, but it ain't gonna happen.
so the reason we use fiscal pay is because it integrates with fiscal books and the entire system that we keep all of the finances with. It controls everything. If you do anything in payroll, it goes to the right line number in fiscal books and all the things. It's completely integrated. The problem is, the way that they have leave, they only have 3 buckets to put leave. Once I put the comp time in there, nobody's keeping track of that. It's personal time, and
That's
you
what I'm
have,
saying, you got a year to find a new company. We just started using that
A
a
new
year ago.
program, yeah.
no, you're talking about the timekeeping system. The payroll system has existed since 2019.
Oh, okay, I thought everything changed.
No,
So,
I
No.
did a stupid question about all that. Why don't we just call it paid time off and combine personal and vacation time together and just have one spot and then it opens up a spot?
That's what a lot of companies do.
and we still have to pay it all out, right?
We've discussed
no,
this.
if you called personal time the same thing as vacation time, you could rename one of the buckets to comp time, and then we could designate.
Then you would have a place to put it, you would keep track of it. Just have one bucket that
Because
all your.
in
vacation,
reality, personal
goes in.
time
That's what-
and vacation time are used the same, so.
Yeah, so just combine vacation
Yes.
and personal days and put some time separately.
And just rename them.
And then you've got your
Okay.
solution and how you pay it out.
That's the way.
Is that doable with our system? Just put
Yeah,
comp
I
time
would-
in its own line.
I would have to go through and modify each employee once it takes effect, but, I mean,
Because everything,
If-
get everything up to
If
speed.
we could split it out. The people that already had it mixed, we wouldn't be able to
You already-
undo it, but
you
from
just
here
have
on
it all
out, we
together,
would
yeah.
know.
And
So
like-
right now, you would take everything and make it vacation and
Yeah.
personal time in that folder, but from this point forward, or from this year forward, you could have a second column, which is your comp time.
Now, the only thing I can think of that could muddy up the water would be if someone who's been here forever leaves without giving notice, then there's a huge bucket of, paid time that we would owe them.
But you're going to right now anyway.
Right, but so I guess we would have to have language that says if they were an employee, existing employee from this date back, all of their vacation time gets paid.
Well, we have a cap, right, that you can do,
Right.
so it'll never be more than their wage times that
So
hour.
if you combine the
150
personal time and
hours or
vacation
something.
time, are you gonna raise the cap to encompass both of them?
Let's do something.
I think if you go
I thought we
forward,
covered
if the court chooses to have just the 2 columns, vacation, PTO, and comp time, I think as the base, it's all gonna be vacation, PTO right now, because you can't go back and figure out if it was comp time or not.
Right.
And so you've got the potential that there are gonna be some people that are gonna have a larger payout because of that, unless they give the 10 days notice. If they give the 10 days notice, then it's gonna get paid out. I think going forward, if you separate into the 2 buckets, you're protecting yourself from that, but you've got what you've got existing right now.
Yeah, I guess that's what, so there's 2 questions. One, so the employees that had comp time mixed together prior to the change,
It's just mixed.
you just have to pay them out. Then the other question would be, if we're gonna combine the 2, personal and vacation time, are we combining caps to equal the same sum?
Cap of what?
So
we have how
Yeah, how much you can accrue.
How much?
Yeah.
250?
So,
It's whatever you all say.
Right, because currently the personal time has a cap and vacation time has a cap, so are we gonna add those 2 together, is what I'm asking?
well, are we gonna get the caps here in a little bit?
Yeah.
Let's
So
hear the numbers.
I think as it relates to that vacation and personal time, whatever those numbers are, those can be, if it's 240 for one, 240 for the other, whatever the numbers end up being.
If it's that much vacation time, I'm gonna take it out here.
So,
I'm gonna take the year off, but
but,
You got a job here.
another one. I need another one.
Well, and
One that accrues vacations.
well, we can get the dates.
I'm proud of everybody, this is good, deep conversation.
So,
I don't understand some of it. but I'm trying to follow it.
I'm trying to stay, I'm going to watch this point, so.
We're gonna be looking
We'll have
to
Corey
in the
Nugent,
night.
sure, someone loves, we'll have Corey Nugent.
let's see.
always end up with them up.
There you go.
Change of duties, I think the only change that was or addition to that was under the transfer section, defined as transfer. I think I mentioned that. Previously, there was protection of personal information in this chapter. We moved that to chapter 8.
No, you're good, you're good.
Not there yet.
Keep going.
So resignation, termination, that's what we're talking, I believe that's what we're talking about. That's largely unchanged, compared to the current personnel policy. Disciplinary action, under suspensions, it eliminated.
Hey, Robert, order a beast.
That's where I started here.
Oh, order a beast.
Where what?
Order us a beast. Are they bringing here? Get us a beast, and I'll pay for it.
Okay.
I'll pay you back. Here's my credit card.
I said I'd buy everybody a beast.
We're gonna take it out the ambulance fund.
Get us a pizza.
There ain't much left. Go ahead.
Not really, on me. I'll pay you back. They deliver here?
I'm sure they would.
All right.
What is the address?
Real. Sheriff's office.
28 East Main Street.
20.
That's all the way to say.
Yeah.
Big snap.
It's
And Snappy, who makes the beast?
Yeah, that was my joke.
fun.
They'll bring some plates and napkins.
Real.
The one top of the deal. $28.
So soon. Especially popping.
Which is page 17 and 74
Yes.
for those following.
Sausage.
So,
Pepperoni.
They'll paint those.
Sausage and pepperoni.
Well, where you look.
I believe, yeah. Why do ours have them in here also?
I've done.
ours are, it's at the top of the.
Yeah.
But we're on page 17 because my program's account.
Uh,
See, my iPad usually, even if they're in a page number, but I don't have
That's
it.
good. The functionality. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want my computer,
No.
that's it.
So.
I'll happily give it up.
All right, continue on, boy.
Suspensions, that language is largely the same, except there were, with like 3A, employees that need a supervisor may suspend and without pay, if the employee violates the Department of County rules. There were steps required that the needed supervisor shall communicate with the executive regarding the action taken, department head for paragraph B. Department head shall know this before the next regularly scheduled meeting. Those were taken out, and then as far as the previous, or the current version of the previous, but for clarity, is what's in there now. There is a current notice requirement, a 5 working days notice with the right to a hearing with fiscal court. That kind of undercuts the concept of that will appointment. Obviously, yeah. So that was what was permitted. It was under the current section. It was chapter 2, section 7, I believe, the disciplinary action, paragraph 5, sub A. That's what's not.
I don't know how to do TV.
And then,
Sorry.
and then that's it.
Hey, Corey.
Yeah.
Come back, that's all, sorry, I'm going backwards here.
Okay.
Under verbal warnings,
Mm-hmm.
you put something in there too, the supervisor should document that. It's not a written warning where the employee has to sign it, but the supervisor should document that. A verbal warning and put it in their file.
Section 7, paragraph C, section 1, we'll add that in there. Supervisor or department head shall note the employee's personnel file when the program is given.
Here's a process question.
Mhm.
Originally, it says that the fiscal court is responsible for maintaining the employee files. So if we are responsible for maintaining employee files and they document something as their supervisor, department head, or whatever, do they send that to us to put in the file, or do they keep their own file?
I think if we do that, they should send it to you.
Okay.
For the personnel files.
They can have a drop file, but
Yeah.
they should send everything.
To this
Yeah.
report to
They can
maintain.
keep a copy,
I call it a drop file.
Alright, there was a current provision for administrative leave, section 9, county judge and department head may have authority to place an employee on administrative leave. Again, I think it's a bit redundant, and we've got the procedures outlined for any sort of disciplinary action already. So that was changed their compensation plan. So overtime pay. Exempt employees, so there shall not be compensated in cash for overtime work. The lion's share of any employee, they're going to be hourly, they're going to be non-exempt, so they're going to receive 1.5 times for overtime pay. It's just cleaning up that language there. And then the current version, or they may receive comp time, just added compensatory time, with the cross reference to chapter 5 benefits, section 3 compensatory time. Go ahead.
With allowing for comp time, is there, would the court consider making it to where they decide if their overtime is paid or if their overtime goes to comp time, something they can't change more than twice a year? Like every 6 months they can change it, they can leave it the same for the entire year, I don't care, but they can't change it more than twice a year, because what happens is they come in.
I thought that was in there, that they had to choose, and.
There's no specified amount of times they have to choose.
Yeah, when we get to chapter, I'd have to look and see. One of the other forms was an overtime / comp time form, and it's for 3-month designations of if they worked in excess of 40 hours in a week, if they want that time to accrue as comp time, they make that designation on that form and have it.
I was just thinking of that, so is that only so amount of time that you do it, whatever?
Now, once we only did ours once a year, you're going to be able to do the same thing with your open enrollment and all that every year. When you did your benefits and everything, that you got that one time
First
a
half
year.
of the year, you want to comp, and the second half you want overtime. You want to comp all of that.
Well, you just picked, no, it was gonna be one or the other for the entire year.
For the whole year.
Yeah, until open enrollment rolled back around.
I see.
So that way it was
Comp
cut
time
and
all
dried.
year, you got overtime all year.
Yeah.
I
Right
like
now,
four
they
months.
change it every paycheck.
Yeah, we definitely need to change that, but
Yeah, but
I mean, 2 or 3 times a year, somebody gets a pickle or something.
I'd be fine when they could change it in the first of the fiscal year and then change it in December.
So,
Yeah,
there's probably no reason.
Twice
why
a
they
year
have-
makes it easier on the payroll.
they can't cash on
It's just.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's their time.
It's their time, but.
Well, they can cash it out at time and a half, or they can take it off at time and a half, right?
I thought you cashed it out, it's at regular time.
No, because what happens is because if they're overtime.
Yeah.
So they earn comp time at time and a half.
Oh.
So they earn 1.5 times hours of overtime.
But it's paid at hourly.
It's paid at
normal
hourly rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they
But
come
right
in
now,
and want
you
to
can
check
cash
that
it out.
today.
Whenever you want.
You can
Like
cash
if I want an extra 5 hours this week, I
Yeah.
can.
And so I just recently instilled a process that they can't just come in and want it today. They can submit a request and I'll put it on their next paycheck.
That's why we did ours, we do it once a year, because you did get in a bind, you could just walk in there and you could say, look, I need to cash out 20 hours of comp time on my next pay period, or whatever, and then you could they get you out of your pickle,
Can't do
whatever.
that state.
Yeah, at the state, you could only cash out leave at the end of the year, I think it was.
It's not a savings account.
Yeah, exactly, that's what I was, I'm not a bank.
Right, it's not a savings account. You got to, what, you just.
We are, you said that.
Well, yeah,
We are kind of.
I-
You can
I'm not a
just
savings
take off,
account.
and then once a year, you get some money if you want to.
Yeah, usually around Christmas time, I think, around the end of the year.
Yeah,
Cash it out, get what it was. You cash it, you could just walk in there and say, I want 5 hours.
Well, we're gonna get somewhere where we can talk about that, right? All right, we'll carry on with that.
Okay.
I'm trying.
Yeah, go with, keep it
Ah,
Let's see.
I just woke up a little bit, now they don't put back to sleep.
I think a little other got fit on it. This is way out of home.
This is good.
you're gonna get your name earlier, don't talk to them again.
One thing that was added to section 6, so considered is direct deposit. I think we may have been talking with the first administrative committee and judge's office. We may have removed the requirement. No, actually it's in there. That employees with a hire date after July 1st, 2026 shall have their pay directly deposited. That way it's not a, not an administrative, snafu every pay period of direct deposit for these employees, paycheck for this, and so on and so forth. So on a moving forward basis, if someone's currently getting paper checks, they can continue to do that, but for new hires, they'll have to get direct deposit.
and the other thing that, I guess that probably takes up the whole, issue with, so I basically laid it out saying they can't have payments in 2 different ways.
It's in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the next sentence.
Because that
It
was
says
a-
if
that
you
was a
hire-
nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, they must choose
Choose
between
only
one
one
method.
Okay, good. Yes.
annually.
Annually.
That's good, Sherry.
Yeah, and this is only for the employees that are currently employed, correct?
Vacation time, change out the pay, electronic versus pay, is this a thing?
Yes.
Believe it or not.
Yes, it is. I put limitations around it, but the personnel policy is what I've been waiting for, to really kind of lay it down, but
We're trying to get it where instead of being 100 boxes, we got
oh, it's
10, 20
expensive.
boxes.
So, what we're saying is, anybody hired after the first of the fiscal year, they have to have direct deposit, so they have no choice.
Mhm.
What if they don't have a bank account?
They need to work here. It's fine.
They can't work.
And I'm old school, but, I mean,
I'm fine with that, but that's up to you guys.
Well,
I'm
that's
just
what I'm
laying the
saying.
question out.
We,
Unless it's changed though, under Kentucky law, there has to be an option for it to be a free.
Card. So that's what
Free.
most
They
places do.
can't, a bank,
Mhm.
there has to be a banking option that is free to the employee. Now, I haven't checked it recently, but when I did research on that years ago,
I
you
know.
could not force people
Right.
into direct deposit without a free
Most places,
checking option.
most of the places today, if they force direct deposit, they have, for like kids who don't have bank accounts that are teenagers, they give them like these cards that it's direct deposited to the card and it's like a debit card, but they don't have an actual account.
we'll go through the business bank over and get one of the travelers cards for them.
I mean, would it not be easier to go ahead and write that paper check instead of keeping up that card?
I think we should leave it how it is, and if it comes up, we'll place
Deal
it.
with it.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
For me, honestly, as long as they're not trying to split payments, running a check versus direct deposit doesn't matter to me. The only problem that it makes is on payroll, I can't have somebody else run it in my absence. I literally have to sign the check by law. So if there's checks involved, I have to be here to sign them. Otherwise, I could run it from wherever.
I think we leave it how it is, we can act
I'm
direct
fine.
deposit.
Yeah, and if they come to you and tell you they don't have a banking option without penalties or fees for doing that, then you have to address it, because you
Yeah.
cannot.
So you say that as is the wording or?
Yes,
our current
yes.
system?
After July 26th,
Okay.
must be done.
You're good, Sherry. I mean, if we have one instance a year, we'll deal with it.
Yeah, that's fine, that's fine. I'm just happy we're moving in that direction.
On-call employees, I don't know. I think this is just new language altogether in there. Certain departments such as EMS, Sheriff's Office, be on call. If they are on call, stay in the county, they can't, consume drugs and alcohol. They're gonna essentially be called into their duty if it's a job that would require them to not be under the influence of those substances. The employee, if they have a conflict with the schedule, they need to make arrangements with their supervisor, if that comes up. Let's see. On-call pay, it's at the rates and hours that they're set at. Non-exempt employees be paid at the regular rate. And then exempt employees do not qualify for on-call compensation. Overtime pay shall be paid with the hourly minimum in accordance with the law. Let's see. And then the judge executive from which departments utilize on-call fees. So obviously EMS, that's going to be one that's likely going to be on-call. Other departments may not necessarily fall under that. But there may be an instance where, let's say in a road department situation, emergency situation.
Andrews, folks.
Yeah, exactly. And so, not to say it will never happen, but, it's not going to be every department have everybody on call all the time. So
Is this similar to what's here currently, or is this all new?
There's not an on-call provision in the old one,
In the old one at all?
not that I can find.
So the point number 4 reads under C, says the judge determines this department to utilize on. Is that like, let's say we have a potential storm event coming in and the judge will say, this department, you can go ahead and notify your on duty for your on-call people. Is that how that works?
yeah, and
I think it already kind of works like that, but we didn't have it in the first.
Well,
it's
that's
just
You're going along with that, that's the process, right?
Right.
This verbiage tracks with that.
Formalize it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Travel and reimbursement, chapter 4. All travel has to be pre-approved, coordinated by the appropriate supervisor and or department head. Only thing that's added was the appropriate supervisor and or. So obviously the department head's unavailable, but you've got second man there or whatever the case may be. Their travel's got to be approved. Mileage rates, reference to the finance cabinet, they set those rates quarterly based on the average price of gas. When the county vehicle is not available, approval of the judge executive, rental car may be used, rental cars 7, I think that language is already in there, so there's a little change there. Adding on section 6, it previously said taxi service to maintain business schedule. So for instance, if you were to an airport and you had a meeting at the conference center for your conference, all we did was add ride share services such as Uber and Lyft because, did it an actual taxi. I don't know if it's the functional equivalent in today's day. Air travel, I think is a new section. I don't believe it's in the current policy. Reservations made as soon as possible so that you can get the best rate. Coach class, airlines responsible for loss or damage. Baggage, county's not really reimbursed for lost stuff. It's just travel. For major trips, if they choose to fly, or if they choose to drive rather than fly, the lesser terms of cash, whether it's mileage reimbursement or plane fare, it's going to be paid out county's insurance policy does not cover expenses for damage to rental vehicles, so if an employee does rent the vehicle, they've got to, accept the insurance coverage for face the risk of any sort of damage there. Overnight lodging, put within a 70-mile radius currently, but what is it?
It was 40.
Yeah, so put it within a 70-mile radius, and then.
So Lexington is out.
How far is that?
Depends on where you leave it. I think it's 70 is greater even from my house. And I'm probably as far west as anybody.
It's only about 49 miles from my house.
Lexington,
From my house to your house,
or 20,
yeah.
over 20, but
You
I mean,
know,
I'm
on the far
okay.
east side, you live on the far west side.
yeah, I'm okay.
The Google machine equivalent right here.
Yeah, the Google machine equivalent, I've got 63 depending on where it started from. So if y'all want to raise it, keep it at 40, that's up to you. And again, I think that was hard to tell.
Well, I think if you're going for
Well,
one
that's
day, that's
70
one
miles.
thing, but if you're doing like a multiple day thing, which you all cover that with the verbiage in there, you know, you might not want to drive back and forth every day, if you're like a 4 day thing.
You could add it to the approval because you said it's office.
So we can just keep it.
4 roads, look at it, I mean, it's 4 miles from here.
So, I mean, well, even 40, the doghouse is probably less than 40 here, isn't it? The doghouse,
I don't know.
That'd be pretty close. That'd be probably push.
was that, the doghouse to my house is probably closer. I don't know. Here.
Your house is 33 miles from here.
Okay. But I mean, if it's multiple day events, it's okay to stay. There you go.
That's what it's, if they
Yeah.
cover that, you know, on
So change it 70 back to 40, keep that at 70 in this version, or let's do it for the rest.
I mean, it's,
I know, it's, I couldn't hear you, so if it's with,
I'm sorry. So, currently it's 40-mile radius, overnight lodging, appropriate.
so you can
Change
say,
it to 70, unless it's a multi-day conference, and then at which point you can stay. If you can closer than 70.
I'm all right with the 70 because multi-day doesn't hurt it, so. When we go to the doghouse and stay one night, and have a 2-day conference, and it's okay. Even 70, so that'd be all right.
Meals and incidentals, I think this is the per meal pricing, I think is what I know the Commonwealth, I think, and the level that they have for trains that we go to, stand for breakfast, and food, lunch, 25 for dinner. You've got to keep your receipts, otherwise you're gonna have that amount really knocked down in section 4, paragraph, or section 4, paragraph B, and, you know, it's limited circumstances where you'd still be able to be reimbursed for those meals, if you don't have receipt. Expense reports, it also added language about, tips, reimbursed tips not to exceed 20% of the cost of the meal, and then, and then, yeah,
They get hurt.
yeah, and EMS employees working 24-hour shifts are out for a minimum of 4 hours or longer, delivery of an ambulance, and they shall be able to get reimbursements for their meals. Otherwise, I don't think there were any changes. The rest on the.
We've never ran into this situation.
Okay.
We're-
Never say never.
Yeah.
Try tomorrow when it happens.
Yep.
Well, yeah. We approved that transfer. That's
So we're required to see what you have.
yeah. Let's see. I think that was it for chapter 4. So chapter 5, we'll get to vacation time, and now it's the time to mention
here already. I got a question.
Well, we've got, so we were talking about previously vacation and
I
personal
already had all
time.
my questions about vacation
Yeah.
time.
Vacation and personal time potentially be, combined so that we can track the comp time.
Right.
The numbers in there, so for the first year of employment, currently you're not eligible to get vacation time accrued until the anniversary date. And it's even more finagled, but just for simplicity's sake, that's what's at. This would allow for 4 hours of vacation time for each full calendar month from the start of the employment, and then it would accrue 7 hours for years 2 through 7 of employment, 10 hours per month for years 8 to 15, and 15 hours per month for 15 plus years of employment.
And for those who haven't done all the math, this was taking the current calculations and just breaking them out to monthly accruals, not changing them at all to less than what they were.
Yeah, I think we talked about it before, and I just missed part of the conversation, but, so, are they accruing vacation now? Yeah, they don't get 40 hours January 1.
Yes, that's exactly what happens.
Okay, so we didn't change that before, I know we talked about it, but.
Yeah, so right now, this will take out the problem where people get dropped an entire year's worth of vacation at one time, and then they might quit the next day, and then we still get to the vacation time or whatever.
Yeah, see, we talked about it at length because, you know, when I worked public work, that's how it was. But, you know, say I was taking a vacation in February, and I was a good employee, you know, I would give them a notice most time they'd work with us. And I think we should do the same myself. But
What's it like
The
pro rate?
only potential problem you have with that is it has to be consistent for everything.
Mhm.
It can't be, well, John's a good employee, but Ethan's not.
well, I think when I meant that, like,
I
if I didn't
know.
have no vacation, like,
Right.
I'd say, hey, I'm going on vacation. I never asked to get paid. So like, I got my vacation plan for February 1st.
Oh, sure, sure.
I'm gonna go
Okay.
either way, but, you know, don't worry about paying me.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's a departmental, I think that fits into the whole department can decide what their hours and availability is. That doesn't require you to take vacation if you're gonna be off. I think this is more of how a vacation accrues and when you, so right now, there's, in the personnel policy, it says you cannot take vacation without it already existing. Like, you can't go into the negative.
Yeah.
So,
We need American law.
But doesn't changing it to monthly, pretty much tell all your employees they can only take vacation in December.
You can roll vacation over.
But what if somebody uses their vacation every year?
I mean, you just can't use it the first year.
the problem right now is you gotta work a whole year before you get any vacation. So it's 6 of one, half dozen of the
Well,
other.
he's talking about a seasoned employee, like everywhere I went, one place it changed, you know, we used to get it all at once and everybody hated it and it was mad at the world, but it just is what it is.
Oh, when I went to work, I just didn't take the vacation the first year, then I started year 2 with,
Well,
I
I
had
think
our
our
cruise, but I had year 4, so I had a week.
more concern is if you've been there 10 years and you take a vacation every January 5th, say Robert, he's been there 10 years, he gets 3 weeks, whatever you get. He wants to take a vacation January 4th, and he uses all his vacation from last year, and he can't take a vacation.
But he also accrues time way faster than any other employee would.
I know, but at January 5th, he wouldn't have had a cure enough days to take off.
I think you gotta plan ahead. If you're gonna take vacation on
Yeah.
January 5th, then
Keep enough.
Well, the way,
keep enough to carry roll over.
so the way that we're talking about doing it, the people
I'm just
who
saying,
were on the current thing got, all of their vacation got credited to them on the 1st of January this year.
Yeah.
So if we change it as of the 1st of July, then everybody starts accruing and they still got their vacation handed to them this year. So they're actually kind of getting the benefit of.
So they get an extra vacation then?
No, you can't
Get
start it, you
40
can't
hours.
start it in July.
4 hours.
Yes, they're actually gonna get a benefit in the
Hey,
first
Sherry.
year.
No,
What?
I don't think you can do that.
Start in July. He says we can't start it in July.
You're gonna pay out a whole half a year extra vacation. If you get 4 weeks, they're gonna get 6 weeks of vacation.
So we have to start next January.
You have to start it on the calendar.
What about new employees that weren't here in January?
I mean, theirs would start on the first week,
Well, the first month
first
of
month
the
it would
employment.
start.
So new employees, we
New
have to
employees don't get-
specify that.
Don't get,
Yeah, they do, they
Employees
get 4
employed
hours.
prior
They
to
get
Jan-
4 hours a
July
month when we change it.
They would
Understand.
earn it, accrue it month over month
Any current employee, you have to start, I think, next,
on
Oh,
January 1.
yeah, and it's gonna occur the same.
I wonder, I was just saying this, based on, if we changed everybody all at the same time, that's what would happen.
Yeah.
But if I don't
Current
have a
employees.
dog in the fight, I don't.
It'll work, right? Doing it in January
I think
1.
this whole movie, January first.
So what,
All Cory has to do is put a sentence in that says, if you were employed prior to July 1, your monthly accrual will not start until January 1 of 2027. If you're employed after July 1, 2026, you will start accruing
Monthly.
month, so in order to make that work in our system, what I'll do is I'll have to manually adjust the few of us that are newer, and then I can make the change in the system that accrues as of January 1st, so that everybody is on the same accrual pattern.
Yeah. As
But,
long as you know you can make it work.
Brad, the problem is gonna be like what he was saying, is the people who are used to having,
Well, really,
80 to 100 hours drop to them, at the first of the year, are now gonna have to accrue it.
yeah, but they got lucky and got, we're in June, 7 months to figure that out.
True.
Take a few hours if you plan on going on vacation.
And I'm just gonna tell you, the vast majority of people that have been here that long have hundreds of hours of time.
And even then, you still have your personal time.
Yeah, and they're still accruing personal time and,
I don't think he doesn't get hurt here.
So, time off.
Alright, so adding the numbers then for new hires after July 1.
Yep.
Adding language for new hires after July 1, to do monthly accrual, and then for all other employees effective on January 1, 27, they begin to
accrue
do
monthly.
accrual. Okay.
Andrew and Robert, I'm glad y'all are in here, and anything we say that y'all don't like.
I think all that works for us.
Robert,
All my
I
guys
like
got
the
plenty of
vacation.
hours and,
Robert, come on vacation. What's that?
That's it, like the vacation for that.
Well, there
I
is
say we
a
need
part
it
in
here,
the
so
first,
we can always tell if you don't like something.
in the first paragraph, there is a part where it says excluding 24-hour shift staff that I think just got left in when we strike that one paragraph.
It just makes you where you got plan a little more.
Alright, sounds good. Carry on. Carry on?
Cory on.
Carry on. There you go.
Whenever you have kids, just read.
Well, I mean, I can start doing impersonations, but it's time and place, I gotta,
Just figure right here, Andrew.
Have you never had a beast
No.
before?
That's insane.
It's a
They're
big
I
ginormous.
was probably like 13 or something.
Thank
when it
you.
Came out, and it was like, cool, same
glad
world.
you
We're gonna take Bigfoot.
Just
They're like
keep
$10
working
too, huh?
and get pizza. Y'all are welcome. Help yourself.
so, I guess we can just discuss then, we brought up earlier vacation and personal time, combining that potentially for it being tracked in, the system that way, so that you can have a separate tracking for comp time. Thoughts on that? Good with that?
I think everyone was good.
So
I think the caps is gonna be the main part.
Yeah, the caps are
Yeah,
what
so
we
right
were.
now, vacation time, you should have 240 hours for employees to work. Yeah. Anyway.
What's it say at first one?
6.
You're gonna have to see that, Mike. Or 2 of them. That's all right. So 240.
Dan?
No, they can accumulate 12.
That's what I was doing in Georgetown. One of the guys I used to work with.
Personal time.
Well, in that, so in that version, it was accruing, well, personal time, but then there's the vacation and.
Right, there's two, I'm saying, we're trying to figure out the cap, both of them, we put them both together, you got 240 right there, this new policy, 240 vacation, 12 personal days. Anything over 12 personal days, has to be paid out.
So that's 96 hours of personal time is the cap. What is the cap on comp time?
Vacation is 240. Or how many weeks is that?
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Putting your vacation and your personal days in the same silo, though.
It would be 336.
And then you can max out at 240 hours of comp time.
So if we combine those two, we'd have 336 as a cap, personal and vacation, 336 hours.
How's that gonna work? Because they accrue personal days at a different rate than vacation, correct? So how will that work for you tracking that? I didn't think about that before because you accrue them in 2 different rates.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, if we're combining them, then we just, if we're combining the caps, then we combine the rates.
And then we just change if you're getting, it might be 17 hours a week other than 15 hours. a
Oh,
week.
that's,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's okay, it's okay.
when I sat down to do it, I'd have figured it out, but right?
yeah. I understand. So if you got, if current,
Does everybody accrue personal days the same?
Yes, I think so.
Way it reads, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure personal and sick is all accrued the same, it's just vacation that
changes based on
gets,
current
yeah,
service.
yeah.
Yeah, each full-time employee should be granted 4 hours of personal leave for each full calendar.
So for when I set up the accrual, I can just set 4 hours additional to whatever the accrual is for that years of service.
That's 12 days. That's a lot of days. What I get? I don't get 12 days vacation.
Like, do you either one of you all work like $2 out?
I'm just saying, I work for
Whatever else I get my watch out, the 2 hours for the plan, so.
So if we're combining the personal and vacation caps to 336 hours at the 8.4 weeks, based on 4-hour work week, comp time, that's capped at 240, that's obviously 6 weeks there, so you're looking at 12.4 week time, sorry. 14.4 weeks, and then the sick accrual. Wow.
The one good thing is, so that's one thing I've been talking about as far as sick time. When I worked for the state, they were very specific about what you could use sick time for. And today, we get, I get timesheets with forms that say, whatever I'm missing, fill in with sick. And I'm like, did you go to the doctor? Like, did you have a doctor's appointment? Was your kid sick? Like, did you meet a specific requirement for using sick time? And the reason I ask that is because the reason the state has that is because sick time is the one thing you can't get paid for when you leave. You either burn it or you lose it. And so what we were having happen is people using sick for anything they want to and saving up the time that they can cash out.
Well, how hard would it be for you to track? So like when I worked public work, you had PTO time or whatever, and you had sick days separately from what you said. I know you said there's only 3 columns, but is there any way you could track it where we just said, hey, you get six sick days a year and then your vacation and don't roll? We'll just get rid of your personal.
Well, so I think the reason that they allow so much sick time is because we don't have a short-term disability policy that the county pays for. So they've allowed the time to be built up. So if you had surgery or something, you have enough time that you can take and you still get paid with your sick leave.
Well, either way, if we combine that, it'll be popular with every employee, but you can't make up your check with just saying, I want 3 hours.
I agree, so I think what needs to happen is sick time needs to be defined, the use.
You could just
Yeah,
divide
but
it all.
you don't have sick time no more.
Oh, you're saying combine everything.
And
I'm
then
also
can
saying
you
get rid of
just,
personal and just have sick and vacation and comp time.
or can you get rid of sick and just have personal?
Just call it
Just call
PTO.
it-
it's
just
paid
call it
time
every
off.
single time,
You
yeah.
use it
Well,
how you want.
but today, if somebody leaves and they have 400 hours of sick time or whatever the cap is, we don't have to pay that. We don't have to pay that out.
I think in the system, there's 3 different silos.
There it is, yes.
So you could keep it sick, you could have a personal vacation combined, and then you could have comp time. And with the personal vacation, that.
So we have days outside of the personal and the vacation right now or not?
The comp time we do.
Yeah, but we don't have no sick days. That's
We
it.
do have sick days.
We do have
They
sick
approve sick days every month.
So what column is that gonna go into?
So right now we have personal, sick, and, vacation. And so it
We're
will
gonna do
change
personal
to
vacation and
personal
sick.
vacation, and then, which would be, I guess, PTO at that point. And then we have sick, and then we have comp. Sick, we don't have to pay out when somebody leaves, but the other two,
Yeah, and that's secured separately too.
Yep.
So this our original plan sounds like it's still working.
right,
We
but
just
I'm
gotta
just
figure out
saying,
the number, the
I'm-
hours of the cap.
I'm just saying for sick time, in order to stop its abuse, we need to define how we
The state,
can
How we pay it out.
I don't know, when I worked for state, you took 3 sick days, 6 days, you know.
Right now it
That's pretty
says,
common.
right now it says 2, which I think is overkill, that 3 would be fine.
FMLA requires it to be at 3.
That's what my.
Okay, so we need to change that to 3 then, and then, but we
But you
still
as
need,
the employer have to send the employee something telling them on day 3, we're designating this as FMLA, provide the information.
one, FMLA gets into a whole,
Do what?
FMLA gets into a whole nother.
Well, you've got the Bermuda Triangle workers comp FMLA.
Well, she's saying if you, if FMLA, that's what they do, if it's 3 days, the third day, that's what FMLA.
You start classifying it as FMLA.
But we're just saying for sick.
Remember our-
For the policy, for our procedure, we
We
can
didn't have
say
to
3 days.
get paid.
You have to provide a sick note after 3 days.
If you don't, you don't get paid.
But as far as like what sick can be used for is where I'm going, like, sick should be defined as you can use it to go to doctor's appointments for yourself, your husband, your immediate family.
I think it's in there.
Or if you're,
Is FMLA defined?
Right there.
is it in here?
Well, shall receive pay absent from work due to death, well, that's death.
No, sick right here, it says, sick leave is defined as time granted to an employee during which she shall receive pay wise from work due to an illness of self, or illness of a spouse, parents of a spouse, children, or stepchildren, if it is reasonably necessary to be absent from work.
Can we, at least just for my benefit, put something in there that says sick time cannot be used to fill in time you've missed, just because, or something to that effect?
I think it's already in there because it defines what sick time is, so when someone asks you to do that, tell them to look at the definition of the personnel policy.
Okay.
And sick time does not say, I wanna fill in.
Last Tuesday.
And if it's 3
You're gonna be
days or
smart
more,
enough to
just
say they
refer
were
back to your
sick, rather
supervisor
than
and
say,
say,
I just
you need to
skipped
turn in
work.
a.
I mean,
Did you not say if they take 3 days off though, that FMLA
You need to
takes
designate
it,
it.
and then you have to send them some sort of
Yes,
notice that they
for
are.
them to do
So
their
it's
doctor's
just-
notes and stuff, it puts the onus on them, but if it's just, I was sick last Tuesday, you're not gonna require somebody to come in with a doctor's note every time they're sick.
No.
Because not everybody does, good luck getting into your doctor when you're sick, number one.
right.
But 2 days would require doctor's note and no extra work on the part of the department head.
But 2 days is overkill, because I can have a 24-hour bug and not want to go to the doctor.
What all
That's
would that
just costing people money for no reason.
Under the, it's just under the FMLA, I can send you whatever you need, but it's under the FMLA, when you send out the notice to them to ask for certification.
What's your goal, know it?
But it's capped at 200 hours.
The sick time is capped at 200. Is it two, I thought it was, oh, no, that's, I'm thinking comp is 240. So sick is capped at 200.
Yeah, they might be.
But on that,
So are we leaving it at 2 days they have to have a doctor's note, or are we setting it to 3?
I would say 3, because like you said, in 2 days, you can't get in to see your doctor in 2 days.
right,
Well, if you go to the doctor, you already come to work.
Well, I don't work for you.
And if I'm sick, you know, if I'm sick today, I might say,
Was
oh,
it-
I feel like crap, and tomorrow, I feel a little better, but then the next day, I might really bottom out.
Is there anything that changed during the COVID time frame that requires anything that we're not thinking about when it comes to sick time?
well, I don't like in here where it says you define it at the cap, it says that if they have 200 hours, you got to pay out more than that.
Oh, yeah, we don't pay out sick time.
Don't pay out much.
Sick time.
People get really sick during the end of their employment.
That's why the state specified, because you can earn unlimited sick leave at the state, but they specify if you leave, you ain't getting it.
Yeah, that language is coming out, it's not 5 points.
I clarify, as far as sick time, you can't use towards vacation or retirement either, can
No, you can't.
you? Here, okay.
You can with the state, with,
There's a lot of other counties you can.
well, with a lot of police agencies, when they retire, they'll
But
take
now,
their sick time and buy time.
Is there anything in our old policy that states that?
We don't know what you're missing, man, that's there's no delicacy.
You gotta watch it too.
You got these patients, I think, yeah.
It says, the current personnel policy, it says, all approved sick time must be exhausted before any employee can request time off without pay.
They get up to 506 hours, sick hours under the old policy.
So we're removing that,
500.
that somebody can
That's 500 hours
request.
may be accumulated and carried forward into the
Oh,
next hour.
what's this down here? It says the following termination of employment authority shall not be paid for the sick leave department. Any county employee hired on or after July 1, 2012, retired from Pension County, prepared with 6 months of sick leave, for the purpose of determining the time and service.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Any county employee hired prior to July 1, will be declared unlimited sick leave for the purpose of determining.
Yeah, we need to take that out.
I'll double check on that. That may be based on hiring data as relates to pensions, but if
Is that the old policy or the?
That's a new one.
that's under the new, and
I was under that impression when I worked here the first time, but.
I mean, I think, if, you know, you somebody's retired and they want to put some of that sick time that they have to do towards their pension, I'm cool with that.
we'll double check on that,
I mean, if
because
they've been a good employee for.
if that's a requirement based on what tier they're in, or B.
Again, if you're a bad employee, you can do it for one, you gotta do it for the
I
other.
mean, probably will be retired, because we don't fire. I'm not saying,
I'm
Good
pretty
point.
sure that when I look at like the KPPA and stuff, we don't participate in their sick leave, thing. Our county doesn't participate in it.
Yeah, so long as there's not any other snafu or hurdle that we have to include that, we can take that out.
I know when I go into KPPA and do a monthly report, it literally, it states like the, whether you're a participant or you're not a participant county, in that sick. So my assumption is you have a choice.
And that probably why it's in hardness, because
They are part of the
they've got a little bit more, resources.
Yeah.
To play with, so. All right, let's see.
Did we ever decide a final cap for
That's-
personal and?
It was 336 if we combine the two together.
Not 32 hours. That's for personal vacation together.
Yes.
Y'all do.
Do you have anybody that currently has 500 hours of sick leave?
I don't think so, because I've been loading the time into the timekeeping system now. But I haven't seen anybody with 500.
So 336 under the combined, reclassified as PTO, that's just combining the personal and vacation time.
Yeah.
240 comp, and then on sick, what was the hours?
200 right now. Just don't see it.
What was the
Well,
old?
that's the draft.
The old had sick leave at 500.
Yeah, old had sick at 500. So I did one.
So if you're making the cap 336, what does it say you can roll over? You can roll over as many as you want until you hit 336.
Yeah.
Every year you can roll all your vacations until you hit that.
Yeah.
That's the cap.
If you put anything out.
Use it or lose it, yeah.
And 6,500.
Oh, we pay it out.
You pay it
Okay,
out.
Yeah.
But that was my other thing about the cap, because currently we pay out for personal days, but do not.
We do. The only thing we don't pay out is sick time.
Is there anything that states, like, if you have that 336 hours, can you take off 336 hours?
Well,
Because like,
so that gets to the, you have to
I think you're.
Request
request
to
time
leave.
off and not be disruptive to the operations of your department that you're working to. So, if you're gonna
there's something in there too.
14.4 weeks.
Sure, somebody's not going to.
Unreasonable, requests, and if you're gonna need to be off for health concerns, you gotta know what you're doing. So, yeah, that would be, I don't think that would be classified as reasonable under this circumstances.
So are we capping at 200 sick hours, or are we going back to what it is today, the 500, or something different?
I think it's picked up to 200 hours.
It says, right now you can carry over to like,
Well, that's your cap, is 200 sick hours, yeah.
Yeah. So we got that restruck, and then just double checking on the county total for time. Alright, let's see.
How does sick time occur at 4 hours per month?
Yeah, it's the same as first.
So that's 12 days a year.
or per month.
Well, I mean, I just think that, you say sick time is a lot of
But
200, but then
if
say you
you're-
get cancer or something.
if you
you're gonna
cap
go
it-
kinda like-
If you cap it at 200 and you specify it can only be used in certain circumstances, then sick really shouldn't be accruing at a higher rate, you know? They should be losing it more than they're using it if that's the way it's working.
Unless you're really sick person.
Yeah.
What's in, at that point then, other things kicking on it and all this stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, just because you're on FMLA doesn't mean you can't use your sick time, it just means you can't fire them if they're off for 12 weeks in a calendar
You
year.
should make them use their
Yeah.
sick and vacation.
Yeah.
Alright, so it says 200 days, I think everyone's good with that.
200 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Alright,
So you, so paying out sick time,
No.
over 200?
No,
So,
use it or lose it.
You've never been paid for it, that I know of.
No,
You don't get paid for sick time.
no.
Unless you take off.
Unless you're sick.
It's almost like what I'm saying, I mean, if I'm an employee and I know that, okay, I got this time, but I'm not gonna get paid for it, I'm gonna call in sick.
Yeah.
So you're gonna take my
you're
time.
incentivizing people to call in sick.
You are now.
They've
You
never
have it now.
gotten paid out sick
I'm
time.
not saying they were, I'm just saying by saying
you're not paying out over a certain amount of hours, you're gonna create a situation.
If I'm a
where
fan.
people look at it and go,
Some
you know what, I'm gonna
employers
lose it. I'm
give
just
you an
gonna.
incentive to cash it in, like they'll give you like
What we just talked about, is
half or whatever.
you burn your city, you keep everything else. That's what y'all of us, is what.
That's what everybody does at the state, yeah.
How it works.
I just don't,
It's gonna kind
Of
of
course,
suck
we
to
got
her.
provisions in there that they
It's what?
But it's gonna suck to her.
Yeah, over so many days.
I think it's gonna end up costing us more in the long run by me or maybe him. Now I'm gonna end up paying a crap ton of overtime out to people and earning sick time when they know that. they don't-
Well, I mean, that's why it's set up right now, and it's already like that. You know, yes, you're accumulating more hours. You don't get paid after sick time now.
The only difference is the cap is lower now than it was.
So you could have an employee that thinks, if I have a heart attack and need to be off for 6 months, I've got 6 months worth of time, whereas now they're gonna have 200 hours.
Is that the concern, or?
I was concerned about people saying, well, I got all this sick time to burn, I think, I'm gonna be sick next week.
Some
Yeah, but
employers,
I mean,
some
had it this whole
employers,
time.
That's the way it is now.
some employers incentivize
I mean,
you
no.
to sell your sick time back to them. Like if you're over 200 hours, we'll pay you.
We did
Half
that
of it?
before, we
Some
were-
people, it just depends on whatever the court would want to do, but you can incentivize people not to use the sick time, but to make it a bonus to them for not using it. If I don't use my sick time, if I get over 200 hours and I sell you that 50 hours, you're gonna pay me for 50 hours of time. Maybe I had 100 hours, but it's like, half or whatever. I mean, it's
I
whatever
think
the court
paying
decides.
over a certain amount, up to a certain amount is cheaper than
Paying
well,
over.
we're paying the overtime to cover that shift when they decide, because I can call my doctor right now and be like, hey, I don't feel good, can you give me a doctor's note? You're gonna send me something over, then look at it.
But the problem,
That's just-
but the problem with that logic, is if we don't do nothing tonight with that policy, and you go tomorrow morning, it's the same way tomorrow morning. Your employees will call tomorrow morning and do the same
But
thing.
should we,
Nothing's changed.
should we put something in there though?
It's a policy decision if you want to. I mean,
That's
it
why I'm
really is a
I mean,
want to.
I mean,
If you want to
I think if you're
incentivize employees not to.
Pay the sick time, you pay it at half. You got 200 hours, you're on 100, you get 50.
I mean, you could do something like
That's
that
what
to
I'm saying.
incentivize them not to use the sick time, but yet reward them for showing up at work.
I think we should do something.
My question to all of that is are you seeing a uptick in your overtime because people are calling sick?
Now that it's publicized, it probably.
We had this discussion the other day, I don't think the EMS employees are on 24-hour shifts and keeping time frame.
Was.
Because they're working 1,200 more hours a year, which is still accumulating the same amount of time that somebody works 2,080 hours a year.
But you're only working 2 days a week too,
Well, 2 to 3 days.
and they're getting paid overtime for majority of that. For 4 hours, here, or 8 hours there.
That's-
In their defense, they're also making, all of them make under 20, pretty much. I mean, the paramedic makes 19.20.
My crew gone the same as the water department, but the water department, when I worked there, they didn't get to do an extra 4 hours this week, an extra 8 hours that week. And if I want, like I could take, when I was working my shifts out there, they could take 24 hours vacation and they could be off for a week, or 5 days. 5 days. Where one of our people would be off for 5 days. They got to be 40. So I think I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, it's kind of like, we'll give it back, because
You're gaining some stuff, but your benefits.
I think it's a wash, at the end of the day.
It's not a
I
legal
think
decision,
you're
it's
better
a
off
policy
in the wash.
decision.
Right. It's a problem.
24-hour shift is awesome.
It doesn't matter to me
For
one way or the
vacation.
other.
Yeah.
Roberts wants some.
You get more vacation than anyone else that works there.
It is until, say, our people don't take vacation because if they want to take, let's say they want to take a week off, it is a 3-day week, they're taking 74 hours of vacation time. You're able to take 1 week off.
Well, don't pick that week.
Well, but even on a short week, they're still taking 48 hours. But then they're only getting paid straight time for that 48 hours, that's 72 hours. They're losing their overtime pay, so they don't take a lot of vacations because they can't, for what they make now, they can't afford to lose that overtime pay that they normally get. That's part of their salary that now ain't part of their salary.
What's those 24-hour shift, like 7 to 7 or 6 to 6, 7 to 6?
7.
There's a whole lot of moving parts.
And I'm trying to get the policies of the counties around us and see what they do for their 24. To formulate if we're doing it fairly or what.
But with respect to your sick time question, you can incentivize people or not. It's entirely a policy decision.
I mean, this is, Robert, I understand his point, but we've been doing it this way for a long time. I don't think we've had any of those troubles. But I know of.
Years to create another savings.
Well, the only thing, yeah, because they're not even working for that. I mean, they are working for it, but it ain't like it's trade overtime or something like comp time.
Robert, I think what you were talking about the other day, which again, instead of working 2080, they're working 3,000 what?
3,340.
Yeah, 3,340. I don't believe any of that's addressed in our policy here. What you just said.
Well, there's some sense to it. There ain't no other department.
Like it.
Some days you probably never sleep, but there ain't no other department that sleeps 5 hours one night, might not sleep any next day, but.
But they do get paid time and a half.
But they get that mandatory overtime.
I just know it's.
Andrew could have mandatory overtime with his employees, I mean.
Well, I work 12
Yeah.
on my long week, I got 4 hours on every paycheck.
A lot of departments do 10s or 12s.
So they had 48 in my long week, they had 48 hours. Of course, I got short though one week before because I only got 36 hours straight there.
But his overtime is not, it's scheduled.
It's built
overtime.
in, it's built in.
So.
A lot of departments are built in though. I know when my husband worked at Fairfield County Corrections, he worked 80 hours a week, every week, for over a year. So it was built in.
Well, if we don't address that other subject, then we can address it later.
It's just a concern I have because I have a lot of people that work other agencies and they know what other agencies are doing and that's.
What do they want?
Huh?
What do they want?
I don't.
Do you have a list of demands?
I mean, honestly, figuring it up.
You should really be paid for hours worked, so I get Robert's,
I mean,
a lot of places you occur, like ours says, does ours say every 8 hours or every so many hours or does it say days?
No, it's based on full-time or part-time, and every employee, as far as like.
See, that's kind of weird
sick
too,
earns
because
is
like
the
we would
same.
get it per hour's work. Like no matter how many years you work there, your scale was different. Let's say I've been there 15 years, but I only worked 30 hours that week. I got less than if I worked 40 hours that week. And we're doing it per month, which is probably attractive.
Requiring us in order to meet,
So that
in
kind of
order,
goes,
in order to meet the full-time standard, you have to average 37.5 hours a week.
yeah, but everyone's not gonna do that every week. Like there'd be a full-time employee that works only 30
Average,
hours.
I
but
think the big
the
problem
average has to be
is-
37.5, or you can't be classified as full-time employee.
I'm listening, Robert.
The problem is every policy this county has, it's all based on the 40-hour employee. Because everybody pretty much else is a 40-hour employee. Our department is 180 degrees different than everybody else. We're not a 40-hour department.
I think we need to find some other policies and bring them in here.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
That's
suggest.
what-
Look at
that's
some
what
of the
I'm
other
trying to
policies and bring them in here.
That's what I'm trying to get together, but if you did the calculation based on the hours and the accumulation, EMS people should accumulate 6 to 6, not 4 and 4.
Now, if you come across a policy that's like ours, make sure you turn it down.
It's kind of the same with holiday time.
Make sure you
too.
turn down the scope of
Holiday
all
time.
policy.
Holiday time's not fair.
It's kind of been an issue too.
A lot of agencies pay like 2 times for holiday pay, or, I mean, again, it's a policy decision about how you want to pay it. You can make a
Because everything
decision that
is-
people are working holidays, if you make the road crews come out Christmas because it's
Wow,
snowing,
snow,
if you're doing
right.
mandatory overtime, how are you paying?
You get paid the full holiday, and you get paid for the time you work.
But it's a policy decision about.
Regardless if
you
you work,
time
you don't
and a
work
half,
the
2
same.
times, whatever.
No, if you work, you get paid 16.
No.
No, that's the way it was when I watched, I worked in Thanksgiving, 8 hours, my 12-hour shift, I got holiday pay. I didn't get the full 12-hour shift.
You get the holiday pay, you put holiday on your timesheet, even
Yes.
if you're working, so you get paid the holiday and whatever you work on that
Well,
day.
you're working that day on the holiday, but
Yes.
it's 8 hours for the holiday, but
Right.
they're really working 14 hours.
Okay, I just.
He's saying he's not getting, they're not getting
It's
24
not
hour
hour for
holiday.
hour. If you're
Not hour
working,
for
if
hour,
you're
I get
working,
it.
you should get paid hour for hour on the holiday, if you're working.
And that's a policy.
Well, that don't happen nowhere.
Well,
You know, if I worked at the railroad and I was on call 364 days a year, every Thanksgiving and Christmas I was there. We'd be there 20 hours and I got 8 hours overtime. I got 8 hours of holiday pay.
But I think there's some piece
I want to say we had this discussion at the state when we just started allowing people to do 10-hour workdays, to do a 40-hour week, so they work 4 days out of the week. And when it came to, we had the same problem with holiday pay, because it was specified you earn 8 hours. And they literally said, you get 8 hours and you can put your own 2 in there if you want to be off the
You
holiday.
can still do 8 hours of holiday pay for people, but one of the things that people do, certain employers decide to do, if you work on a holiday, rather than it being 8 straight hours, is we're gonna pay you double time for working the holiday. So instead of getting your regular $20 an hour, you're gonna be paid $40 an hour for the 8 hours you work on the actual holiday, but you're only gonna get 8 hours additional holiday pay at your regular 20-hour rate. Again, it's a policy decision, it's not
Well, I'd be willing to look and
a
see
legal decision.
if Robert wants to bring something in. But on the other side of the coin, there's a lot of benefits to working a 24-48 shift. So
I agree.
At what point do you cross the bridge where people want their cake and eat it too? So, but I'd be willing to look at things that you want to present to make maybe an addendum at a later time, but I
Your
work,
own policy.
Well, two things. One, I think Hardin County addresses differential for 24-hour shift, just as a point of reference when you bring the list. Second thing, personnel policy can be changed at any point in time. So
yeah.
if we, and I envision by the time we get through all this, there's going to be a whole host of changes already through one page right now. We'll bring it to the next meeting and then we'll review then. So if we don't get it addressed at the next regular meeting, then it's something that can certainly be addressed.
Well, we might not even change it.
Yeah.
We're gonna look at it.
But yeah, I mean, I'm saying, give it the time and the ability to look at it, that proposal. So that's something that, whereas admin code, it's limited in terms of when you can change it. Personnel policy as issued by if the court wants to make a decision, then it's something that can certainly be filed.
Are we at a point we can move on to the next one?
That was we're moving on.
Well, that's what I just want to make sure.
Let me define that speech for you real quick.
As
Charlie
Cunningham would say.
we're moving on. Anyway, uniform policy, it's not in the current policy on the website, but that's something that has been adopted, and that's just verbatim of what was,
He skipped workers' comp.
All right, okay.
did.
Yeah. And comp time.
I'm on it.
Yeah. You skipped comp time and work.
Sorry, I apologize. That's all right.
He said we're moving on.
That probably saved us.
He's like, so page 74.
What I said.
In conclusion, comp time, it's the.
28 of 74 for those following.
Yes, 28 of 74 on the draft. Yeah. It's added that language in there. So with that, I think we spoke earlier, 240 max. That language need to be changed in, second paragraph under section 4, it's 40. Actually, that would be,
Was, we talked
yeah.
about changing it.
Well, that says 40 and a quarter.
And it proves a 40 and a quarter. I mean, we could,
160.
yeah.
No more.
So
I thought we changed that already.
this wording is based on Rich Ornstein and Keiko. They have the model of comp time policy. We could keep that wording in there. So for each quarter, they could accrue a max of 40, and then their overall cap could still be at 240 max, or we could just change that to be not putting a max on each quarter.
I like this is
I don't
all
want
like the cake over.
Wait,
Well, if this is at 40 hours and you can only change it a few times a year, if you're on it, you won't be able to exceed that. Or
But
you're gonna get so much of it and then she's gonna
She's
pay
gonna pay you
overtime.
out.
It'd be up to her to keep track of it.
Are we- hold on a second, we're saying that we're capping it per quarter, or, okay, cause I'm like,
That's
that's
what
a lot.
that's what it says
That's
in
what's
here.
currently in there.
Yeah, it is what
Okay.
it says.
In this graph, you can accrue up to 40 in a given quarter.
Right,
That's not telling what you can carry over.
But
That
if you
becomes-
go over, the way this would work is if you get more than 40 hours in a quarter, you're gonna be paying those people. for
You'd be
the-
busting the block every quarter.
right, the problem is, there's no real easy way to keep track of.
Because you're gonna have a column that just says they've got 80 hours of comp time, you don't know if they got it in quarter one.
Yeah,
quarter two,
exactly.
quarter two.
I'd have to go back and look at timesheets and stuff.
Take it up.
Yeah.
So,
Just
it's
for
easy to keep
simplicity,
track of a
yeah.
cap and be like, I can just run a report and see how many hours you had.
Gotcha.
And you're fine. No, I want you in there all day, all night,
I already am, and they're all.
No, Mike, no, you don't.
burning the midnight oil,
No.
tally marks on the wall. Like
No,
Christmas.
We were doing all
Until you
this,
start over next door.
we're trying to make this easier for you.
Thank you, I really do appreciate it. Though,
Yeah, so we'll take out that quarterly.
That second paragraph
language.
will come out.
are we putting in a part that we talked about where they can only cash out twice a year and only change what they want twice a year or something like that?
Well, we were talking about changing the, you can go on and off. We didn't decide how many times, but twice, is that what everybody like?
You can change 2 times.
6 months.
Yeah, once every, like, you could specify
I like
once
the
a
way you
year,
can
like.
say January
you can-
1st, July 1st.
Yeah, exactly.
Make a decision.
Yep,
I think it's what it was, what it.
So you wanna do it on a calendar basis, not on that's probably.
Well, they're just gonna put everybody exactly the same, so that'd be easier.
yeah.
Not have
See,
everybody-
that's
January
why
1, July
it's
1.
So you wanna do
They
that
can make that
on
determination.
You good,
I'm trying to
Sherry?
I'm trying not to make everybody hate me with the first year.
Well, you don't want somebody, this person's gonna decide in August, that
Right.
person's deciding in June.
I'm happy with the
You know,
specific dates.
Yeah.
I was just trying not to limit them to once a year, like,
You're looking for consistency.
You gotta-
January 1 and July 1?
yes,
Well, the
yes.
treasurer needs to be
That works.
notified prior to January 1 and July 1. For the change to take effect on that said date.
Right.
She don't need 40 people hitting her office on, on July 1st going, hey, I want to change tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know,
So it's gonna stay the same unless you notify the
Exactly.
treasurer,
At
7
least.
days, 10 days, what do
Yeah.
you,
7 days is fine. 7 days.
7 working days or
7 working days.
10 days. That's 2 weeks.
I'm fine with whatever.
So right now, it's gonna stay exactly the same, but in a month, everyone will have to make their mind up.
And then the
well,
other
they
thing
have to do
was,
that prior to that, but
Yeah,
yes.
7 days
prior.
prior.
now what
Or
did
10
you
days
guys
over.
feel, how did you guys feel about how often they can cash out if they're not at their max?
I think,
I think we kinda landed that as long as they do it every 2 weeks. Right?
You mean on a pay period?
Yeah, long as somebody gets the comp time and they get in the pickle.
If they've opted for it, then they can.
That's what's been done, and that's gonna be a hard break to break.
Yeah.
We've been doing it, leave it alone.
That's not 2 weeks notice?
Yeah.
Is that,
As long as I've been notified before the next payroll run, I'll add it to the next payroll, is what I've been doing, but even doing that was hard to get them to do.
Yeah.
So I feel like if we try to push it harder at this point, they're just gonna revolt.
So cash out at, for the next payroll. So
Okay,
if they're
yeah.
But they need to understand they need to come in, not the day before checks are issued on payroll, they need to come in.
They can't because I already have them done
Well,
by then.
whatever that is,
Yeah, they have to notify me.
so you get paid on the 15th and the 30th, what day do they need to notify?
We don't
you
get
by?
paid, we get paid bi-weekly. Yeah, you don't get paid once a month. And matter of fact, all of the elected officials, I don't know if Scott told you, you guys used to get paid on the 15th of every month, the 1 month payroll, but in order for me not to run multiple payroll cycles, you're gonna get paid with the first payroll that I run in a month. it's still the same amount of money in a month, it's just not on the 15th.
All our bills come in the game, well,
As long as you guys are cool with that.
I think I got my $12 check on.
You're actually gonna get paid before you would have gotten paid, but it helps me not to have to run separate payroll cycles.
whatever works for you.
Okay, I'm good with that.
That's.
So, alright,
10 business days prior to the January 1, July 1, and then anytime that we want to cash out, they've got to provide you notice for the next payment. Alright, and take out the quarterly accrual cap. Are we okay with keeping it at the 240 overall hour max?
I think so.
Okay. I mean, it's a fiscal ticking time bomb essentially, but that's.
well, I mean, they earned it, we owe.
Well, they've earned it, yeah, but I mean, you could
But
pay
when
it
everybody
out.
cashes out at once.
It's easier to pay out in theory, overtime pay, because it's, there's not gonna be that big delta if somebody.
Well, you have two people,
You're
that's got
never,
500 hours to pay out.
It's, you know.
you're never gonna, there'll probably never be an issue. Like,
I mean, if this is both.
I don't know, for sure,
Never say never, though.
I mean, there's probably only two people I can think of.
Well, you get $20 an hour person, time and a half is $30 an hour. We have 240 hours, $7,200.
Moving on. Workers' comp, I don't.
In conclusion.
I don't, I don't think there was any changes to, workers' comp other than transitional duty when available, temporary program not to exceed 6. I think it was simply just adding that 6 in parentheses, so that's the extensive change there. Now it's a uniform policy, it's not in the.
Or expected.
It's not in the attached version labeled current, but that was what has been adopted by this court, and then it provides the allowance for uniforms, conditions, etc.
In my opinion, I think that's been working good, and I think the employees like it.
What I changed to.
What we changed to on uniform policy, uniform allowance, so, yeah.
Let's see. Trying to further in, it was just adding, change language on the initial.
Long after the period, Mark will keep the facial hair neat and trim.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there was some information added on section 9, which is titled section 125 cafeteria plan, just outlining the enrollment period, and further clarifying that, and then the employee will continue to participate in the cafeteria plan for the year until it canceled during the enrollment period. Deferred comp, I think the only change was the cross-reference in personnel policy, medical insurance. That was changed. So the current policy says, based on the availability of budget revenue, the county will pay an allotment per month. This is defining it as full-time employees or part-time working $100 or more, 100 hours or more per month, entitled. And then the added, kind of what we're coming back to on this, Jerry, is the I think more than $1,000 in wages per month. Part-time employees, will continue to have to do 100% of the premium, but no kind of match. But it's also, making sure that that premium will be covered by their wages rather than having to go track down lower. If they're paying $100 and their premium is $350, tracking down that additional $250.
I mean, it comes into play too if you have somebody out on, workman's comp, we still have to cover that, but, I mean, those are special circumstances, so, and usually those people are like, here's my money, because I don't want to lose my insurance, I'm already, hurt or whatever.
Spelling out vision, dental, life insurance policy, COBRA, I think was unchanged. Holidays,
I got a question on that.
Yep.
On all the holidays.
holidays paid.
Yeah, it says the county observes the same holiday schedule with the state that observes the holiday occurs during an employee's vacation time or sick leave. She shall be given an equivalent time off with pay. Does that mean we're paying them their holiday pay with their vacation pay?
So a
If you're on
holiday,
vacation and the holiday, you should get paid for the holiday.
I'm not saying that, I'm saying, are we want to pay them their vacation day too?
What should happen is if they're on vacation, they shouldn't put in a vacation day, they should just put the holiday day in.
I think ours would get for free, they'll use vacation.
I mean, and I'm trying to get the timesheet systems into a place where, when it comes to stuff like that, it doesn't allow you to put double the amount of time in. On a holiday, because it should just populate the holiday time, you should just have to allow for the 8 hours you would have been there, and that's it.
You can add a sentence that says holiday pay cannot,
Be combined with vacation.
cannot be
Well, what about
combined
the
with
24
6
hours?
Well, hold on, I
hours.
think Rob's gonna be number B here, or look, it says here.
No, they don't cover what he was saying.
Well, I mean,
24 hours
opinion,
shift.
so say you're on vacation and a holiday comes, if you plan that same day, I mean, really, you're just losing vacation time.
No, you don't, you're
so
only
let's,
getting 4
let's
days
say you have,
vacation.
if you have a
I know I'm
7-day
saying as
vacation
an
schedule.
employee, that's your own fault. Like, if we have to pay it, who cares?
Well,
But
It's not paying double time.
if there's a
They're
7-day
vacation.
vacation, say you got the week of July 4th,
Yeah.
you're only gonna be charged 6 vacation days.
most of the time, I would pull it
Against
off
your,
the timesheet.
against your accrued.
Most of the time, when I see it on the timesheet, I take it off, because they shouldn't just waste a vacation day for a day that they would have gotten a holiday.
Of course, like this year, 4th of July is on Saturday.
People plan their
They don't
vacations
get
around
paid
when they
for
get a
that.
holiday
Well,
and
no,
save vacation.
4th of July being on Saturday is usually observed on either Friday or
Oh,
Monday.
you're right, my bad.
Well, just for you.
Get it off.
Now, okay, so this brings up a conversation that Lynn and I had. If we're going to observe the holidays that the state observes, then we have to observe the 4 hours of voting holiday.
You have to do that anyway.
No, we don't. We have to allow them to go vote according to our current personnel policy, but we don't have to pay them to do it.
No, but state law requires that you let them go.
Right, but what we're talking about is paying them for 4 hours of voting leave.
The
The
state
state
pays
gives 4 hours of voting leave.
Did we not agree on that at some point in time, at some meeting, that they would get paid 4 hours?
I thought we were adding 4 hours.
So I think the payment on
No.
voting leave was, it was a
Not in our
resolution,
current
Looks like
personnel policy.
it was a resolution that was passed.
Good Friday or something, I think that's a half a day.
Good Friday is the same
They
way.
do the same thing for election.
That's what the state does. They do it the same way as Good Friday. You can choose to either be off in the afternoon, you can choose to be off in the morning.
Again, it's a policy decision.
Right.
The court wants to pay 4 hours, but you have to give them 4 hours.
Yeah, you
don't
have
a
to
choice
give them
about that.
time to,
But that you all can make a policy
Right.
decision about whether you want it to be.
Alright, so to answer your question, Lynn, I believe there was a resolution that was passed in the November 2024 meeting that would allow for pay or up to 4 hours of voting pay, but I don't think it was a permanent change in the personnel policy. So you can be allowed your 4 hours to go vote, but it wasn't you weren't getting paid automatically unless you put in for that personal time for those 4 hours. I think if memory serves correctly, I think there was a resolution that was passed by the court to allow for pay for that voting time, for that specific election, but not a permanent
So
change.
what you're saying is they can get paid for 4 hours voting in 2024, it was
Not made a permanent personnel policy change.
Well, I don't see no problem with paying someone, but it don't take 4 hours to vote in Taylorsville.
No.
So put it in the policy, you can get paid 2 hours to vote if you want it in there. You can't vote in 2 hours.
But if they don't live in Taylor.
Most of my employees don't live here.
What's that?
They don't have to drive.
They're coming to work anyway.
But they gotta go back to where they live.
You gotta
Oh,
give
you're
them
talking about outside.
Yeah.
I think I
you
go
gotta,
there.
you gotta give them 4 hours by state law.
You don't have to pay them for 4
You don't have
hours.
to pay 'em.
I'm saying if you want to pay them, you shouldn't need to pay
You're
4
saying
hours.
your policy decision.
Well, where's
is
your
okay.
furthest employee live, Robert?
Indiana? You had one that was from Indiana.
Alright, well, voting polls, what time do they open, Lynn? 6 o'clock.
In Indiana,
If you report to work at 7 and you got 2 hours, you vote at 6. Might not be.
Of course, do y'all they have early voting in Indiana just like here?
it's different than your own.
I think it's, so
Thursday,
beneficial.
Friday, and Saturday, Ash Carter.
Just put it in there that you pay
We wasn't, right now, we're not paying.
No, I'm saying, but I think you should change it for free.
Yeah, but I think the biggest question was, this says we observe everything the state
And the
pays.
state is a
We're
4-hour holiday.
just observing their holiday schedule, we're not
It's the
observing their
schedule,
policy.
not the pay.
Their pay schedule.
Well,
You want
the way that it's written though, it sounds like we pay for the same holidays that the
It
state
says the
does.
state, the county observes the same holiday schedule. It says nothing about paying.
I don't think we should pay 4 hours to the vote. I don't have a problem giving them 4 hours off,
But you have to.
but just not pay.
So if I was a new
I
employee
think
and I
you
didn't
give
work
the
here
time
and I
off.
read the personnel policy, the assumptions that I would read into how it's written is a holiday, I get paid for the same holidays the state gets
You
paid
shouldn't
for.
assume that.
Well, but you have, not everybody's a legal minded
I
person.
think at the new orientation, the second Monday of the month, that be highlighted.
So what I would want is the holidays to be spelled out, which ones we get paid for.
The state can change that though, from year to year, when they're gonna observe or not observe, depending on when July 4th is, when it's not. I think, it doesn't say anything about pay, it just says we observe the same holiday schedule.
I doubt we'll ever even run across this problem, so if we do,
Well, I just ran across it.
they want it paid for something.
You can add a sentence that says you do not get paid
You
for
got paid for
voting time, you get the voting time off, but you don't get paid for it,
Because
that's.
we haven't had elections since 2024.
Yeah.
They did get paid.
You can add a sentence to that paragraph that says, however, there will be no pay. You will get time off for voting if you elect to take your 4 hours, however, there will be no pay associated with that time.
Well, I have it in there, but makes the other one happen.
I mean, if it avoids the problem.
If I can't afford losing 4 hours, I'll just go vote on Saturday. When I'm off anyway.
Some of us like to vote that out.
So if I don't wanna
I'm
lose
old
pay,
school.
Well, outside of Robert, everyone should be able to go vote before work.
Doesn't matter, we gotta give them 4 hours, budget day.
Now you got, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
I'm just saying, you wanna vote the day of, like Cheryl
But
said.
state law requires you to get that, so
Yeah.
they tell you.
Well, I'm just saying, if you don't wanna lose no time, the majority of
Exactly.
people, majority, can go vote and come to work on time.
Majority of people don't even realize they have the legal right to say
Like, oh.
4 hours to go vote. But, yeah, you're welcome. There's 5 people that are actually allowed to.
that's only on election day, correct?
You'd be surprised how getting blown up.
Oh, are you?
And that 4 hours, that's a good point, is only on election day?
Correct.
I haven't looked recently, but because that's been the law forever and a day
Yeah.
for early voting and no excuse having to do that kind of stuff. But I suspect it's only that.
All right, carry on, Northside.
Corey, I have a question.
There ain't no time for that.
The verbiage in B, when it starts referring to, guys, says it's a 24-hour shift begins at 8 a.m. on the day of the calendar holiday and continues at 8 a.m. the morning following the calendar holiday. The 24-hour shift employees do not recognize the time from midnight. Does that just mean they're not getting that pay before they come on shift?
It means the preceding 24-hour shift,
Is their holiday.
it's not their holiday until the next shift that morning comes in, the next.
Let's make sure, that's what I was thinking.
But to be honest with you, it's kind of a waste of having it in there because everybody gets holiday.
Well, and that's why I thought this just be something different. And
I think that was based on if there was a different accrual schedule for time off for a 24-hour shift.
Okay.
I think, I agree with Rob's point, if there's not that separate accrual, I think it's also one.
The only thing that was really pertained to is if a part-time person was working on the holiday, and they would holiday, or part-time people would get. holiday pay unless they are working.
Okay.
And
And it's 7 a.m.
the statute allows them to do that on a day other than election day if they're requesting an absentee ballot. If he has made application for leave prior to the day he appears before the county clerk to request an application for to execute an absentee ballot, he may be entitled to absent himself from services of employment which he is engaged or employed for a reasonable time, but not less than 4 hours on the day he appears before the clerk to request that application for to execute an absentee ballot during the normal business hours.
Can I ask one question? So where we're saying we observe the same holiday schedule, is the only holiday in that schedule that we don't pay the same as the state pays is voting?
I would imagine so, I don't know.
So like, Good Friday, we pay 4 hours holiday.
I believe so, I believe we count.
I'm asking
Count
you guys.
out- Yeah, I think they typically close at noon. We're so used to having court on those Fridays, I don't really know.
Yeah, we're stuck no matter
I
what.
can't remember. Don't they usually close at 12?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
all
half a day on Good
holidays
Friday.
currently on the state schedule that we get paid the same except for the voting.
And again, though, it doesn't say that in the policy.
No, I'm just clarifying for when people ask me, then I'll know.
So, when it comes to holiday, I mean, really the only employees that could possibly be working would be EMS, sheriff, and road department.
Corey and I get calls on holidays too.
Huh?
We don't get paid hours, but we get calls on holidays. We get calls in the middle of the night.
But I mean, if you're working, shouldn't we pay holiday pay for every hour you're working from midnight to midnight? If you're working the holiday.
That goes back to your question about how you approve vacation time and everything else.
So you're talking, instead of 8, you're talking 24.
Or really it would be, if you're working on a holiday, it would be from 7 a.m. until midnight, you pay an hour for holiday if you're working.
Like when you come on at 7 o'clock in the morning, you should get paid all the way to midnight, what you say.
You should make.
You are getting paid, but what he's saying is you should get holiday pay.
That's
like
what I'm
instead
saying.
of
Top of the
hours.
regular pay.
Yeah.
If you're working.
I think you're just gonna have to accept that you're gonna get paid 8 hours and move on. Or bring some more stuff and let's look at it, but.
I mean, I'm just for the employees, I don't get holiday pay, so
That's why you're gonna think about it.
Voting was covered in section 1.
Maternity leave, I don't think there was any maternity leave. Yeah, I don't think there's any maternity leave in the, current policy.
It would be under FMLA and whatever time you have to use it.
Yeah, so that whole section is new, but again, definitely, so.
does that pertain to maternity also?
That would be under FMLA. The way it is in the new plan is maternity leave, it doesn't say anything about paternity.
That's correct.
Never heard of it.
Fire department, Louisville Fire gets like a paternity, I think it's 6 or 8 weeks now. I got buddies that work there, one of them was off for 7 years, it seemed like.
My husband
I got 8 weeks, I'd probably keep
Paternity
having
leave before
kids.
I got to for maternity leave.
Hmm?
That's probably what sent me to labor.
But
My
should
husband
we-
was off on paternity leave before I went into
How did-
labor
How did you do that?
through FMLA and
Oh.
and
Oh,
I
okay.
can't say.
I thought maybe they had like
Button
a specific
file or
paternity
something.
policy, or they were like, you can be off before your wife even goes into labor.
Louisville
Well,
Fire,
it's also
they let
going
them,
into labor. I'm with them.
they let them do it a year, like if you had a kid within the last year when they did the policy, like if I had a kid 11 months ago.
Yeah.
You got to go on and take it. It's like your kid was 11 months old, you got to take 8 weeks off.
Police department the same way. You can take your, Toyota was the same way. You can
Take
take
over the
your
course of the
paternity
year,
leave
right.
whenever you wanted. It didn't have to be around the birth of the child.
It's to care, yeah, well, under the FMLA, to care for,
One thing I'd like to cover that I didn't see, I don't think why I ran ahead, was like when we have a snowstorm and we close all the county offices early. Of course, that don't apply to Andrew, Robert, or the road department per se. Should we spell out something that our policy works for it? I mean, yes, it stinks that planning and zoning gets to go home, but the road department don't. But I mean, if we address it in the policy where everyone understands, then there won't be a question asked.
So you're talking about whether planning zoning is being paid when you cut their day shut by 4 hours? Or
Yes.
you're talking about?
Yes. I mean, we probably should address that. And I mean, I'm okay either way. I would just like us to address it, then we won't have the question.
So when that happens, does they get paid the rest of the time?
Well,
How's it been working?
work different ways, I think.
I mean, most of the time, it's usually a state of emergency, or after.
Well, I don't think so. If we're getting snow,
I'll probably ask Lynn to assist how we've done it.
Most ways they have to take personal time, vacation, would be useful.
So I mean, I just would like to spell it out where we know cut and dry what it is.
But it's gonna be a policy decision. You can decide, people's mortgages are the same regardless of whether the judge says there's a snow day or not. So you can make a decision that you're gonna pay them for that time. If you say, no, I don't want you coming in, or you can make a decision to say you're gonna have to use your
Personal time.
vacation.
Well, I think,
well, if you don't wanna come to work because it's snowing, then take your time. If everyone in the planning and zoning office wants to come to work, come to work.
If the judge shuts them down, they can't.
You don't have to shut them down if they wanna come to work.
He's saying if they come to work and it's snowing, then it's gonna pick up more, he said, all right, I'm closing the offices, I'm closing the courthouse.
So why do you close that if they don't work?
Well,
That's their decision.
I
They're
mean,
like,
I'm after their safety.
well, that's what I'm getting at. If they're
The state does.
worried about their safety, then say, hey, I don't feel safe, and I'm sure like.
It's an employer decision, and they do it because they want, for
Well, that's
employees'
what I'm
safety,
saying.
yeah.
It's an employer's decision.
I think that you don't work the day, they have to use vacation and personal time. I mean, the thing is, I don't think it's fair to the people that are out there having to work in.
Well,
Get,
that is a good argument.
that's, but if I was on the road department, I'd be like, why do I have to be out? You know, they got paid 8 hours just the same as me, but they're sitting at home.
Yes.
And I just think that'd be a fair way to look at it for our people that do have to work, like Rob's guys, sheriff's office, at the road department. Say, yeah, you do have to work, but we're paying you right on.
You know, but I have had a few that's like, I can't be off work and I can't use my vacation time, or, you know, I can't use my time, I need to be working.
Give them
Saying
a snow
that,
shovel.
I will say this, is his job in the road department, part of your job description is working during heat and weather. That's part of it, it's part of your job description. You chose that job.
And theirs is not, that's why they're not here.
Right. So, that can
But I mean, but I think you
start-
go into that understanding when you take the job, if you close, I ain't gonna get paid.
Well, I'm not saying that, I'm saying that if I come to work, I show up to work on my scheduled time coming to work, and the boss says, oh, we're gonna go roll close up in your work day. I was expecting that 8 hours pay, and I only got 4 or whatever, I'd be mad.
If you gave you a snow shovel, would you shovel the snow?
Yeah, I would.
All right, snow shovels.
We're gonna put all the PBA people on the road trucks.
I'd say with the shovel there, well,
But we can address it later. Go ahead.
what do you want to put in the policy? That's what
Well,
we're talking about.
let's ponder on it. We can come back to it before we quit tonight. That's my way.
Back that up,
I don't care, I just.
I mean, I think the decision they make, like me as the emergency manager, it's not communicating on whether or not we should shut down government offices based on what the state is doing. So when we do it, it's because I'm receiving guidance from the state telling me you should really shut down government offices because that's what we recommend. Because it's not the safety, it's more the safety of the employees, but it's also, we're trying to get people off the roads.
So they don't have to respond.
Yeah.
So.
And that's the big thing about it.
Plow trucks be out there plowing and doing their thing.
I mean, my best truthful answer is like if the governor declares an emergency, I declare an emergency. I mean, I kind of just play like that. If the county's around me, I mean, I'll be the first one sometimes.
Yeah. But it's just not the fact that we're trying to send people home. It's the state is doing this because we're trying to figure the road lanes and get people on board.
I agree with him, that you work in the office, it's just the way to put it from.
We'll address it for quick, go ahead.
FMLA, I think the most, language that was added included the language, for military caregivers. I know there was certain positions that would only apply for, there was language in there already, but the military caregiver and those things, that's tracking with federal regulation, federal law, and just making sure that was in there. It's FMLA's,
Corey?
Yeah.
Jury duty, so, it just basically says that you're required to make a court appearance. So I know it's specified in our policy manual that it had to be, it couldn't be a court appearance where you were.
for a personal court appearance,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Very substance.
yeah, with section,
So if you're
section,
cordially invited by the police or the judge or a prosecutor.
so section B, that's kind of what spells that out, is if you're there for, your speeding ticket, God forbid a DUI, or anything, no expired registration, doesn't matter what the charge was, violation or misdemeanor, what have you. You're not gonna get paid for that. If it's to serve on a jury or you're subpoenaed to testify, let's say we have, sheriff's deputy, or this is that, for a preliminary hearing, they're gonna receive that.
Yeah, as long as
Actually,
you weren't the
A
defendant,
lot of times overtime paid.
then they would pay. So,
I think that's another three. That's an option.
And that is generous. Some
Let's see. So now, now
What
to.
is, so like, I'm way up here in maternity leave again, but, so say someone has a child, a female, they can't get on FMLA unless they do all their time. Correct? And FLMA,
No.
You can get
FMLA
FMLA,
counts.
but you would use your time to get paid. So let's say you have 4 weeks of time accrued and you go FMLA, you would exhaust, you would exhaust your time as accrued, PTO, et cetera.
Because FMLA is just it's like a designation of protection for the employee for the time they're taking off. It's not a paid.
We can't fire them because they're off.
Yeah.
well, what I was getting at, so like, the school system, I like before we had kids with a teacher, I think it's pretty crappy as an employee not to pay a mother to be off work for some period of time. They work for you all the time, they're gonna have a child, and you can't pay them anything for being off work.
That's a policy decision.
I know it is, that's why I'm bringing it up. I'm not saying we can't afford to pay people 10 weeks like some places, but,
I can tell you when I had my kids, it was based on short-term disability policy, and it depended on how many weeks you had been with, like how many years you had been with the company. So if I was there 6 years, I got paid 6 weeks. If I was there for 4 years, I got paid 4 weeks, and I didn't get paid the other 2 if I wanted to take 6 weeks off. But you got 6 weeks to take off, and you got paid for however many you had earned up to that point.
I think it's a policy decision for that you decide if you want to pay him 6 weeks. Use this report.
well, I'm not saying that because we've been paying nothing, but I think if we can't take someone a week or 2 before they have to use their own time, I'm a little bit. Myself, but
Put her in there.
it's pretty common
I
outside.
would do more, I would do more than 2 weeks, but I don't agree with 2 weeks.
Yeah, we would pay up to 2 weeks or 2 weeks additional paid time.
I mean, you can
Beyond what
leave
they've got.
the period of time the same, but
Yeah.
make it where we pay 2 weeks of it.
Before they dip into.
That's what I'm
Make it
saying.
dip into
Yeah.
their own.
Yeah, or they,
Mother?
and they're,
Father duties screwed in there, that's what it is.
depends on where you work.
Well, under the FMLA, they can use their.
I know, I agree 100%, but I guess I'm just telling you my thoughts. I mean, I know that that's something about the fire department, but
Yeah, I think we should.
a mom and a dad's role in that is totally different, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we'll do 2 weeks before you start earning vacation.
Is that, so would it start at birth or when they're, or when
I'd say
they're
when they're
hospitalized
admitted to the
or?
hospital for the.
Some don't have them in the hospital,
You could have somebody like
you know, home birth.
Or
Yeah.
they're on
Or
death.
preterm labor.
Yeah,
I would just call it whenever you start to miss work to
once the baby's born.
have a child.
Okay, so let me ask these questions because things happen. What if a person, has a miscarriage? Is it,
Yes, covered, it's a
Okay.
miscarriage.
I'm assuming you're gonna pay them the same 2
Yeah.
weeks if
2
they
weeks.
have a miscarriage.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
What
Yeah.
about an adoption?
You get 2 weeks too.
So are we saying 2 weeks when the maternity leave begins? Because I know, depending on your job, a doctor will put you off work completely as soon as they find out you're pregnant.
I think at that point, they can decide when they want to use the 2 weeks. You know, I think they're probably gonna say it, but I
honestly,
don't care if you just say child.
it
When
would
the
be,
child's born.
it would be
Adopt.
easy for
What's
me.
easiest?
It'd be easy for me to, once we get a confirmation of pregnancy, I can just add 2 weeks leave to their leave balance and they can use it when, yeah, because they're either gonna have a child or they're gonna have a miscarriage. And then if we get a confirmation of adoption, we can add 2 weeks to their leave.
Perfect. That sounds good to me.
Do we have bereavement pay?
We discussed that the other time, a couple years ago,
I was gonna ask that too.
on bereavement.
It was covered
I thought I
under
saw
the sick leave policy.
All right.
That you
Yeah, I
can
think
use
that's,
it
maybe
for
that's what it
death.
is. You just use sick time, is that right?
Yeah.
You just use a sick day for
Yeah.
death in the family.
Yeah, I think it fell under the sick time.
Well, a year or two ago, we talked about adding bereavement time. And we chose not to, correct?
I think it's spell under sick time.
Yeah, I mean, we just let it fall under sick time.
That's something, if you got 200 hours of sick.
Yeah, but if you're a new employee and you lose your mom,
Yeah, I mean, I think we should just.
That's a good
2
point.
days of
Yeah.
I think you get so many days already, in my opinion, that I think
Make it
personal days is excessive already. Just from previous employment. I've never,
Well, I don't
you
think,
get a lot of
if
days
somebody's
already.
new and their parent dies, I don't think Scott's gonna be like, no, you're gonna be in there road for it.
Well, I think the
The
biggest
question is
part is
whether
paid.
they're
Gonna get paid.
yeah.
A lot of companies do 2 or 3 days bereavement leave. Again, it's your choice.
Yeah, a lot of
They
companies don't
classify-
give you the time off
No,
that you're getting
and-
off of.
Well, a lot of them do, you'd be surprised. But I think you just classify what degree of relative, if you have a bereavement leave policy, you would classify what, it's not gonna be for my second cousin twice removed, it's mom, dad, grandparents.
Well, you could use section 2, letter A, to define it right there.
Or you could leave it how we have it.
Spouse, parents, parents of spouse, children, or stepchildren, and reasonably necessary to be absent from work for those days.
Can you add it to that new employee and not add it to anybody else?
I don't know if that would fly.
I think
Why
it's a
not?
special,
It's a policy.
it's a special classification, also equal protection.
You got, we're equal opportunity employees.
We are equal to everyone that's new. Everyone that's not new, you have the same. Exactly.
I think your least, your conservative approach to it would be, it's the same for everyone. Because if it's not the same for
Well,
everyone.
then leave it under six.
Yeah.
You got 12 sick.
Yeah.
Well,
Personal days.
if you're a new employee though, you don't earn, it would take you several months to earn 3 days time off to go.
But you, I hope it doesn't happen.
Well,
It did happen to me, thanks.
I've just had this happen to a couple of employees in the last year and they get paid. Because they didn't have time and they had definite families now. It just makes us. That's word practice.
it's the,
I just like
it's
the
the
same
first place
thing,
I've
so y'all
ever
wanna put
been
2
where
days
you
in there,
didn't get.
Well,
two
it
days
should
in
be
there.
different, like
Signature office.
the policy we had, you got one day if it was if it was your, cousin or uncle or something like that, and then you got 3 days if it was a close relative. Then you got 5 days that you could use anytime if it was your spouse or your parent, because you have a lot of legal stuff that you have to take care of also during that time. So you could use those 5 days whenever. You had to use at least one the day of the funeral. The
You can
other
go
4
back to
days you could use
FMLA
it
for that,
whenever.
though, serious injury or death, you go back to your FMLA policy.
Can we just put in there, give people 2 days bereavement pay for immediate family?
Well,
I
I
think
was
you
gonna
want to define the level though, like
Yeah,
when you say immediate
right.
family.
Parents, grandparents, children, brother or sister.
Those same people that are listed under the sick leave thing.
Steps, yeah.
You wanna know what that is? No. Well, see, the thing is, I was wondering.
Robert, I'm talking for you, brother.
I
What
mean,
now?
but it needs to be clarified, because if you say 2 days, that's 2 24-hour shifts for our people. You need to put an hour at
Or 2 shifts.
24 hours.
Or 48 hours. Well, then you're not
Yes.
really gonna like it. It's just say 16 hours. And then put on a
Once
24 hour
again,
shift.
we're gonna have to get your own site, we're gonna get an EMS policy, personnel policy for you all. We're gonna have to.
We don't have to.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
It's been the same as ours for forever.
There has to be some amendments to the personnel
Could you put it
policy.
in there that,
that
like it's part of, they're gonna have 3 days off, but it's not fair, but you have a lot of benefits someone else does. If they're taking pay them a 24-hour shift, as 2 days. I don't know how you wanna write that in there. They can take 1 day off at EMS, they're getting the same as 3 days.
Or why not just say a 40-hour person gets 3 days and a 24-hour person gets 1 day? It's the same.
We're gonna just give an 8-hour person an extra day.
He's saying you're paying them for the day they would have, so if they had a 24-hour shift. that
I'm gonna
day,
pay you for the whole day.
Whatever your shift is.
So it's no
That's
different
what I'm
than any other.
That's what I'm
employee.
saying.
Yeah, you're all saying the same thing, you
Okay.
just don't realize.
I was just wondering, according to you could,
I told you I was trying to back
just
for you,
put
buddy.
something in the policy that says if the death in the family occurs prior to the appropriate accrual of said time, then 2 days be given.
I thought y'all just said you wanted to do 2 days.
I think we're just
period.
adding that time.
Well, you said earlier it was too much in the weeds or equal and all this.
Yeah, no, I mean, we
Well,
just
that's,
need to know
that's
what
if it's a
y'all
new
want.
hire or not. So this would be a new policy for bereavement for existing
Well,
employees
Mike's
or.
trying to say, I'll give you the 2 days if you haven't acquired the time.
If you haven't accrued time, you
But
can
you're,
put it there. If you haven't accrued the time at the time.
you're
that you-
still creating a special classification of employee though, because you've got an employee that doesn't have the same time.
If
You've got-
you've got an employee
You've got
that saves them.
Sharon that's been
Pay
here
them.
a month, and she's getting the same thing that.
She's getting
Lynn's
paid
like, so that
and
makes sense,
Lynn's
but Lynn's
So-
been here forever, and she gets. the
So
same
you
thing.
could put it in there this way, that they could get 2 days off, or request 2 days off the funeral, or funeral leave unpaid if they don't have the time at the discretion of the county judge.
They can already do that.
So,
Yeah. You're supposed to just put in there, you get 2 days. If you're EMS, you get a full shift. Paid.
Well,
Everybody
it's
agrees on
whatever days you're off, if it ends up being.
He's
yeah.
getting 1 day off, 1 shift off, 24 hours you're getting off. Your whole shift.
But let's spell it out. Mother, father, sister, brother, child,
Here's,
spouse,
here it's listed as
Grandparents,
spouse,
probably.
grandparents.
spouse, parents, parents of spouse,
I wouldn't, well.
children or stepchildren.
Will's been causing divorce, but I,
Yeah.
now I'm
You gotta
just.
include your in-laws.
Yeah.
Yeah, so spouse, parents of spouse, parents of spouse,
A lot of these.
parents, children or stepchildren.
Stipends. So parents, grandparents, children, spouse, siblings, steps, in-laws.
Because, I mean, if someone has the unfortunate year of losing a child and a brother or a parent or something, I mean, they need to get all of them. If you're gonna-
Well, in your policy, the way it would be written is, you get 2 days for these level of,
So
Relative.
is that effective from the day they're hired? The same as?
I would think it would be.
Yes, I think it should be.
Yeah.
If we're gonna do it, I mean, this is gonna be a budget hit. This is gonna cost us a little extra money. Everything we do costs money.
I mean,
But it's
employees,
employee friendly.
it's
and
very
it's morally
employee
the right
friendly.
thing.
Well, Robert's cost us some money with the 24 hours. I'm just kidding, Robert.
Yeah, and see, here goes back to Robert, so now you're 24, now you're gonna pay overtime for another 24 hours.
No, you don't get paid, so you.
No, someone's gotta fill that spot.
Oh, yeah, that's true, yeah.
Robert's gonna do that.
For
His
free.
salary.
Oh, yeah, salary, Robert.
Since we ain't buying no more vehicles for any department the rest for 2 more years.
Put it in the policy that as long as Robert Kingsmith is employed, he'll cover the shift.
Whether it's road department.
All right,
or-
let's roll on, dudes. We've been here 3 hours.
You got it, Robert.
I
love
you
you.
on here. Wherever you need. I'm here for you.
So, I got a thing on military leave, so if I get orders, so the state doesn't have to declare an emergency. I could get federal orders saying, you're gonna report to duty on this time to this time. And it could be 30, 60, 90, 180 days. So we're saying that they're only gonna get paid for 10 days.
I don't believe USERO requires you to pay.
They don't require you to pay anything because the government.
Because it requires us to let you go.
Yeah.
It doesn't, and to hold your job, it doesn't require me to pay you.
Doesn't the government, if you're making less when you go to the military, cover that cost as well?
No.
The difference? Are you sure they don't now?
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, I don't think so. There's,
Well, my guys that were on National Guard, they got paid the difference, but maybe the CSX paid the difference.
If you get called to active duty, you get active duty pay, and that's.
yeah, CSX would, a lot, so some employers will say, we know the military pay is way less than what you make in the market, and so we'll cover the difference of what military stops at.
They do that as a community service.
Yeah.
AT&T does it for jury duty.
Yeah.
For instance, they will pay you the difference in your wages for jury duty because you get paid a lot less, you know, the 5 hours a day or whatever you make on jury duty.
Yeah.
Oftentimes doesn't pay for your department if you refer in place other than pay.
more than you got? 12 days.
So I'm just saying, I know it says for 10 days, but, all it does is make up the difference. And, because a lot of people, if they get called to active duty, they'll lose their, house or whatever, because they're used to making, it's whatever, and then all of a sudden they're making, $1,000 a month.
I go back to everything I said before, it's a policy decision. Exactly. It is a fiscal court policy decision.
Well,
And it doesn't happen that often. A lot of people got called up during the Gulf Wars and stuff, but, that, way anymore.
Now it's just your bar training and things like that that you have to do.
I think if we run into it, we can change the policy whenever.
What's been the policy up to now? Has it always just been?
For training, the 10 days for training.
Well, and here's the thing, Scott or any of you can come to the court and say, we've got an employee that got caught for military training, we know it is a financial burden, and by resolution, we're gonna agree
To do to everybody.
We pay the difference.
And that would be singling out just because one person did.
I don't think so. I mean, it's military duty, it's not like, being in the Avon itself, it's a little bit different.
If we do, that's everybody's up for a grant, that's all we're going to.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm happy to say, I don't know that we've had that in the last 3 years. So,
So we're basically on.
We're voting leave.
Garden leave.
We've covered that.
Covered that.
Now we're at CDL.
So added language regarding if they obtain a CDL by virtue of their employment with the county, if they leave during the first year after they've got that CDL, they've got to repay 100% of costs associated with that, including not run through training fees. If they leave after the first year, but before that second year, they pay half the costs.
Okay, no question about that. If they get trained or paid on a grant for working, like, how does that work?
So it's the grant covering their
Training.
is covering all their payroll.
I could've
No,
said
It's not
somebody else,
covering their
though.
payroll.
We'll have to pay us back for what we're paying
It's
out.
not covering their payroll, it's just covering what the cost of the class.
I could have sent somebody else for that training, but for you telling me you were gonna work with me for the next 2 years.
I think you have to leave it.
That has to,
I just wondered how they don't have it work.
Well, we talked about this a little bit at a meeting the other day, and there was a little bit of chatter, maybe disagreement, but.
I mean, we've
I mean,
got
you're losing
to,
the productivity, and you're losing the hours, paying the hours and the lost work.
right,
You know, we're not mandating anybody to go to this, so it's
And Robert's paying
voluntary.
overtime to somebody to cover the person that went.
Yeah.
No, Robert's running the dump truck, while he's in it.
Yeah, so we're not really losing.
Yeah,
no
right,
productivity.
Robert?
I know.
well, I mean, like the two fellows we have doing it now, you know, they didn't agree to this,
Yeah,
so.
that was the reason we talked to this, and they were supposed to agree to it.
They didn't agree to it?
I don't know that they covered it.
You're gonna have to go.
Well, it's too late for that now, and we're just gonna do free break, and somebody's gonna say that they didn't have to do that. But the policy changed
The
on,
policy's changing with this.
so do you need to put a date in there?
I thought we discussed it, that
We
was
did
before
discuss
me,
it.
that you all were gonna require them regardless, they were gonna be told that. I don't know if they were, but
Or we're throwing the other bus out?
That's
We didn't
fine.
have that.
That's fine.
I may be remembering.
I don't think I cleared that, I don't remember clearing that, so I'll just own it.
That's what it is.
I was more perplexed and upset and puzzled about how much time it's gonna be and then getting the fees paid in advance.
Well, that's,
I got that breakdown there, steps in there, suspended, not properly renewed, et cetera, going forward, so on and so forth. You see it. Any further questions for the ongoing resolution? And then we're
Getting close. Trail off, trail off.
Get to the fast part.
We're getting close. So, if the, so adding to the procedure, if there is dissatisfaction with the situation affecting their job, they must report it to their supervisor, and then the supervisor has time to respond. If they're not satisfied with that, then they bring it to the judge executive within that time frame. The new section was if the employee is not satisfied with the action or decision of the judge executive, they can make a written appeal, or a written appeal to the fiscal court. Fiscal court shall conduct a hearing, inclusive and final. The only thing I would add, I think it would be under the exemption of the Open Meetings Act, but add that into the closed session. Actually, that was in one of my markups, but it didn't on D. All parties to conflict be given an opportunity to present during the conclusive and final review by fiscal court during the executive session. So that would be the only thing to add to that, but it's given the right of appeal from the judge executive's decision to appeal to fiscal court. Moving on. Drug and alcohol-free workplace.
I have to think for something.
Okay.
So how does this apply to employees of an elected official, like Lynn or sheriff? Or is it just all the other employees?
I think it would be for the departments that report to judge executive and fiscal court, because those offices have their own, they're constitutional elected offices.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was just covering all canvas, all county employees, or just the ones that report to the judge. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, we'll be clear about that. Reporting to. Oh, yeah. We're moving on to chapter 7 then.
Drug and alcohol-free workplace.
Only thing that was added was that section C, or the paragraph C under section 1. County, that was that previous ordinance that medicinal marijuana, it's not permitted and still be employed by this court. That was the decision that was reached back in December of 2024.
I remember when that was a bit of a controversy, so you say if, I know there was one fiscal court member who was going to apply for a license or whatever. So that person could use his medical marijuana and bypass the drug-free workplace?
Yeah, the personnel policy, he would be exempt as an elected official. You know, there's still the part of what was adopted was in keeping with the drug-free workplace certification and the restrictions related to that. That's part of the reason why fiscal court adopted that back in 24, so that you wouldn't run into that. Obviously, if it's an elected official, then yeah, that's for them to contend with. But their limited, their official work functions are limited to, at least as it relates to fiscal court, when meetings in open session. Outside of meetings, they don't have any official authority at all. So.
And the other members just make them feel really bad, don't they?
Because they're high, we don't care.
Yeah.
Their electorate will be the ones to make that determination.
Right. Let's see. Drug testing is just pursuant to U.S. Department of Health and Human Services administration.
Has that changed any in the last 12 months? Well, just, you know, it's kind of, you know, Lynn brought up about you have the license, and I remember us discussing that. And then, you know, I don't know the difference legally between like THC 8 and THC 9. What's the difference?
Eight's legal, 9 is not.
Yeah. 9
Is not.
Not 9 is not.
Okay.
But
So
for
employee-
marijuana, it is Delta 9, so yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know, so, but that's the line. So Andrew, 8 is sold everywhere, but 9 isn't. We're supposed to be.
Supposed to.
Oh, you'll find 9 in gas stations and stuff, and people think they're getting Delta 8, and they aren't necessarily.
But CBD, it's
different. But,
that shows up on a drug screen too. It pops like the marijuana.
but we've had stuff that people have purchased online or in gas stations represent it as being Delta 8 and send it out for testing and lo and behold.
So essentially our policy though, with this, I don't know how you dictate that, but say you have an employee wreck a vehicle, Delta 8 shows up on a drug screen as marijuana.
It will show up as Delta 8.
Yeah.
Oh, so they can
It
verify that.
differentiates between 8 and 9.
Okay.
And then, of course, I've had this curiosity about it. So then, like, you know, when someone gets a job, there's, I don't know how long it takes to get out of your system or not get out of your system.
Depends on the drug.
Like,
And it
the
depends
8.
on urine or hair follicle.
Well, and body condition, like
Chronic
marijuana
users,
stores fat
that's-
cells
that's-
longer if you have more fat than
But you're
someone
gonna
else.
have carboxy as opposed to active.
So, I mean, basically, you're saying, oh, the science of testing has kind of kept up with the gray area of rules.
Somewhat, but roadside testing, no. I mean, like, testing for marijuana use, if they're smoking it.
But if an employee sends for a
Yeah, it'd
test,
be
it's
different,
going to
but
show
yeah.
whether it's the active.
Well, say they wreck a vehicle and then you, which we're fire at will, so it doesn't matter. But legally, liability wise, if someone gets in a wreck and you have Delta 8 in your system at the time, I assume that opens you up to, can you charge someone with driving under the influence if that Delta 8 is in their system? Can you get a DUI? Because I mean,
That's a loaded question.
Kind of horrible.
You can get a DUI, we're probably gonna dismiss the DUI later when we find out they didn't have an impairing substance, allegedly impairing substance of a certain amount in our system. There is no, like 0.08 for alcohol, there's no differentiation per se for marijuana.
Yeah, there never has been. You'd think scientists could figure that out now.
Well, we don't necessarily want to either. It's about impairment.
Yeah, whether you're impaired or not.
Thank you all for the
But you
education.
can say that about DUI too, because someone can blow a .06 and one person may feel drunk and one person might not.
We have people that are less than 0.08 that are charged because if you're exhibiting signs of impaired driving,
it's just the presumption. If you're above a point oh eight, you're presumed to be under the influence. You can be, the statute is 0.02 to 0.07. And 0.04, it may be presumed, but it's not a.
But even 0.08 is per se, the law says that you're legally intoxicated at 0.08.
I think
Regardless.
it was the under 21, but
It is.
regardless, if it's 0.04.
I think after today, I'm not gonna be a lawyer.
Now, I was reading,
Professions.
here, like,
you will need
define,
to get licensed or it would be
Drug.
authorized practice law.
it looks like
If I
you
say-
listed all like the first aid drugs,
Misdemeanor, anything.
according to 218A, and then like, now are you covering like marijuana and stuff like that with 12, 13?
It says here, Canada weeds,
Well, these-
marijuana.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, I guess we're just covering all our bases here,
Yes.
listed all the first aid drugs.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have fentanyl listed, but technically it's under the opiates.
Right.
All right. Moving along. We're getting close. Thank God. At that initial training, there's going to be new employee training with the treasurer. They'll be signing their alcohol and drug-free acknowledgement forms and kind of going over the rules of the county. For the alcohol testing, that language is largely the same. Let's see.
Do we have anything in this new, if there's a workplace injury, you're required to go to our physician to be examined?
It was also like going like Baptist Works or something.
Yeah, is there anything in here for that?
Under the workers' comp.
Wherever it needs to be.
Workplace accident.
Like say I hurt my ankle and I went to my doctor and they said, well, you need to be off 10 weeks. Both places I've worked and I think should, we should send them to like
Place-
Baptist Works is where
A
everybody
place
uses.
that we contract with for occupational health.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's post-accident testing on page 56. So it's already alcohol testing will be conducted following.
He's talking
I'm
about
sorry.
physical exam. Like workers' comp.
But no, just like if I get hurt, I go to the doctor, like the employee should be required to go to.
That's under workers' comp, required under workers'
All right.
comp.
But it's
And
in
then
there.
medical examination,
Yes.
but we have to pay for it, but yes.
Yeah.
And you were talking about the testing.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I get what he's saying, because I'm actually looking at the post accident. I just wanted to make sure, like, if I hurt my ankle and I say, well, I gotta be off for 5 years, you say, well, maybe so, but you're gonna go to our physician and they're gonna say that.
Hurt feelings last a long time.
It can happen.
I don't know
That's a good-
Okay, so going on down to record retention, release, and confidentiality.
What page you on?
Page 63 of 74.
Section 14. Section 13.
Yeah, that's any records relating to drug or alcohol testing is going to be considered confidential, separate apart from their standard personnel file. Just adding in that won't be released unless there's a written request by the employee, court order, or it's related to a benefit such as workers' comp or insurance.
So it's like, is it covered by HIPAA?
In the event that it's not, this is just providing that. Because I think there may be certain contexts where it may, and like with reasonable suspicion testing, it's kind of a gray area because reasonable suspicion post accident, there's a reason for it, but that's kind of just belt and suspenders approach, making sure that there's some confidentiality to that.
So basically what you're saying is anytime I get something that's like some kind of a drug test on any employee, I need to have a separate section in their employee folder where that's kept and nobody else can have it unless it meets these criteria.
Yes. There would be I would even say that not even separate part of that whole, I would say a separate file altogether.
So like a drug test.
A medical cabinet as opposed to a personnel file.
Traditional personnel file.
Well, I mean, we're going digital with most of them, so I'm trying to figure out like how I need to store this particular.
Yeah.
Separate, folder. Yeah.
A different call.
There's been there about county financial assistance. If we're sending somebody to be tested, that initial test to be covered by the county. Now, if the person who is being tested wants a second or independent test, then that would be paid at their own expense. Chapter 8, Section 1. Paragraph A is the utmost importance. Utmost importance. Number 17, under Section 1, cell phones. It currently says shall not be used while driving a county vehicle. Cell phones used while driving a county vehicle shall be done only when safe and in a hands-free manner. Sexual harassment is yes, bad. And also, most of the language is unchanged with the exception of if, there's report to a supervisor if it's involved in the supervisor, report to the judge executive if it's involved in the judge executive, this court hearing in executive session, and then all parties to a complaint proceeding shall be given an opportunity to with their due process rights. ABA provisions unchanged. Section 4, privacy and confidentiality. This is kind of bolstering. I mentioned earlier there was a section that was deleted. This kind of spells out with more clarity and kind of tracks more closely with Shelby County as an example. Expectation of privacy. If you're using public resources, there's not a reasonable expectation of privacy. Use county facilities for business purposes of the county. Employees do not have the right to privacy, like I said, should not expect such a right with respect to any material on county property. And this includes email, voice, text communications, internet search, browsing history, etc. Privacy specifically relating to social security numbers. Those obviously going to be obtained for onboarding new employees, etc. Those are going to be held in a confidential manner, retained for legitimate business reasons only, in accordance with the law. Retention and access to Social Security. All records, like I said, are going to be secure to confidential files, and unauthorized use or disclosure. Any employee who obtains, uses, or discloses that may be disciplined up to include termination, and this will cooperate with investigators alleged to have obtained it inappropriately. And then added language for HIPAA, records of items protected by HIPAA, all such items shall be kept under controlled access set apart from the standard personnel file. Return of county property, adding in that language, so uniforms, keys, radios, telephones, handbooks, etc. Those must be returned to the employee supervisor. It previously said only upon termination, but added that language now for resignation or retirement. Section 10, social media and internet use, paragraph D. If an employee who identifies themselves as a county employee discusses matters relating to the county, they must include a disclaimer that it doesn't express the views of the county. For example, right there, they should place a disclaimer upon the position, repeat it when they're expressing their personal opinions related to county operations. It's trying to balance that First Amendment right versus also you're not speaking on behalf of the county when you're posting. Lactation breaks, section 11, that's actually added because it is state law. And took that from the prosecutor's advisory council policy language there. And it says the timekeeping. Hourly employees required to use time management system by the county, and if they fail to clock out, it kind of spells out the employee would be responsible for providing the time statement. So we run into that issue on a few occasions. Someone shows up to work or they leave work and they forget to clock out, get with their supervisor or department head, and then they will know, because otherwise what we've been told, from my understanding, is that time clock system creates the record, and it's presumed to be correct unless there's that something in writing that it needs to be changed.
The timekeeping system today actually has a note feature where you can actually put the note in it. Should we add this, so timekeeping, according to what we're told, is that it's not just for hourly employees, we have to keep it for all employees except the elected officials.
And I haven't looked into, but I think there's the exemption for doctors.
There wasn't an exemption for timekeeping, there was an exemption for the salary requirement to meet exempt employee designation.
But there's also not a requirement for it,
For,
to have a time sheet.
according to our auditors, there is.
There's no requirement.
Because we have,
Ask them to cite the statute too.
so here's what we have to be able to have something that shows an employee who is allowed, and it wouldn't come into play for a part-time salaried employee, but it would come into play for an employee that is full-time. We have to be able to show that if we're allowing them to accrue leave, that they are taking leave. And when just because you're an exempt employee doesn't mean you're exempt from the requirement to be where you're expected to be during the hours you're expected to be there. Because exempt just means you're exempt from overtime.
Doesn't apply to doctors or lawyers, and you don't have any full-time attorneys for the county, you don't have any full-time doctors.
But we have other salaried employees.
And they are subject to the personnel policy and the time sheet requirements.
Well, according to the auditors, if they're a salaried employee and they're not an elected official, then we should have timesheets showing that they are showing up when they're supposed to. And
So you're saying the auditor will dock you?
that's what they told us
Yeah,
already.
they'll write it. It'll be written up.
So you're talking about like
Robert?
There's not, so,
Rob and Todd and
yeah, so anybody who would
No, anyone
be,
that's salary.
Just salary.
salaried employees, because
They're full-time.
right, but what they told us specifically was any employee that we have has to have timesheets. We have to be keeping track of attendance for all employees except the elected officials. Because elected officials don't have specific requirements to show up at any given time.
We
They also
gotta be
don't
a
earn
certain
leave.
time in the office, but
Yeah,
So
you
do
also
anybody
don't
like
earn
that
leave.
outside of Robert?
Other than just,
Other than their office,
just
Yeah, but y'all don't count.
Well, Matthew is not a lawyer, so.
So he'll do timesheet.
But
no,
according to the auditors, when we specifically asked about your position, they said you have to do it.
Ask them to cite you to the statute. that
I
they
mean,
want.
you can argue with them, I'm just telling you what they told us.
Yeah, would that include
I mean, if we're
Okay.
going to go their
when I was a salaried employee, but I didn't have normal work hours.
Yeah.
Well,
So
here's how
I just
work
got paid the
hours-
same
here's how
amount of
work
money,
hours
no matter
can-
what, how many hours I work.
Right, but that's not, so here's how the work hours thing, when you're talking about an exempt employee who's a regular staff, a full-time salaried employee, just because you have hours that are not specific, you have a normal expected work schedule. There's normally you're available during these hours. Anything you do outside of that does not have to be documented because you're not getting paid overtime. But you are expected to be available for an expected amount of time per week, every week during these specific hours. And if you're going to be out, you have to either have the leave to be off or you fall into the categories that it shows where an employer can not pay you in certain circumstances.
Well, I think we just need to ask the auditor if we need to send them their number.
We can do it.
Well, we're also not full-time employees. We don't have,
I know, but Robert is.
yeah, but we don't get approved leave or things of that nature, so.
Right, but she didn't designate full-time. She said everybody who's not an elected official.
Oh, well, you just kept saying full-time, like.
Right, because I was
Full-time
talking about,
saying
because
that.
he was talking about like, if he was full-time salaried employee, even when I worked for the state, I was salaried, we had to put our time.
I'd love to be paid hourly. Y'all can't afford me, but I'd love it.
It's not a big deal, I'll start doing time sheets.
But I'm just saying, because right now that it says only the hourly employees have that, so.
Yeah, and to date,
Well, it don't matter what any of us thinks, if the auditor's docking you, you need to get it figured out, whether right, wrong, or indifferent.
and just for the, we haven't to date had necessarily hourly time sheets, but I do a bi-monthly certification that it works for them.
I'm fine with however, if the auditors will accept whatever you guys.
Well, I was just saying,
Well,
I
I'm
provide
good.
that.
I was just saying in the past, we can provide it for the
Right.
current year's audit, and then if it is determined we need to do that, that's it. We'll-
Y'all are the attorneys, y'all just let me know what they say that they'll take. But all I can tell you is they were very explicit about only people that are exempt from that are the elected officials.
we'll hook you up.
So what's that? If you have a couple of them items, but-
Yeah, do we vote to,
You've all got a couple things you still have to decide, whether or not you're gonna pay people during closure was one of the things you wanted to talk about. And this is an aside that doesn't have to be dealt with by vote, but what you need to change, like the growth department job classifications, that basically they are required to be on call as part of the job classification. If you determine that there is a snow emergency or whatever, that it is mandatory, it's not optional for them to be on call. They already treat it that way, but you probably want to have it as part of your description. And those were the.
but is there compensation for that?
No.
No.
It's got it on the on-call
They're
part
just-
of the personnel.
Yeah.
policy.
Okay.
I just think we need to make it clear within their job description so that when you do say there's a snow emergency and road department person, you have to come in, they can't say, well, no, it's not my normal schedule 8 to 5, which they're not gonna take that anyway. But you did have the thing you wanted to talk about pay during closure.
Yeah, I'm okay with how we've been doing it. I mean, we added the bereavement, that was a give, and, this is really not a change.
So use your
Yes.
PTO,
Use
sick
your
time,
personal time.
whatever, yeah. Personal or vacation.
Yeah, you bring it up, Lynn.
I think that,
Can I go, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I don't have the document.
that's right, I remember. It's the, before after a holiday.
Oh, the calling in sick.
Oh, yeah. Just felt like you called sick the day before, you don't get paid for it.
Day before, day after. Does it allow for, you know, the opportunity?
What you got about them? What's that? Yeah, right, that was just when you said.
I argue with what you just brought up, it's very, very common.
Well, the only problem with saying if you're sick, they're all gonna be sick. I'm not coming in today. You know, you're saying doctors know, I mean, is it the only time you're gonna require doctors note for using your sick leave and to make sure your holiday pay is if you had a sick note for a holiday?
Okay.
Scheduled absence. Or that's what would make most sense to put it. And are you gonna do the
This is
same
under-
thing for vacation?
Says,
Well, like I said,
false or fraudulent use of sick leave or repetitious use of sick leave on the workday immediately preceding. It's E is at the top of page 28. Immediately preceding or the workday after a holiday shall be cause for disciplinary action.
Okay.
Yep, it's
Yeah,
there under
yeah,
E.
including
So
termination.
there's section 3 under chapter 5, reporting sick leave. So to be paid sick leave, they have responsibility to report their inability to be on the job, etc. Sick leave dues subtracted on an hour-for-hour basis. Upon return to work, they should file a notice of leave form stating the reasons for the absence unless they fill the form prior to taking sick leave. Form must be approved by supervisor before being charged sick leave, and individual records shall be maintained by the county. And then, since you're
I think you can just add a provision too that
Yeah.
says if you call in the day before or after
Software,
6
what we
weeks,
have
it's
now,
holiday pay,
Yeah.
period.
Cause I know
So-
that some people can have access on the phone. Can you not request vacation and personal time and stuff on that?
So I haven't gotten completely into the configuration, but there are certain things that are available on the app and certain things that aren't. But there's also things that can be set by, security configuration by the user role. And I think there's some things that weren't originally allowed by user role that we may change.
So false or fraudulent use of sick leave or repetitious use of sick leave on the workday immediately preceding or the workday after a holiday shall be cause for disciplinary action up to and including termination. So,
Well, that should be added.
They put another provision that says if you call in the day before or the day after, you're not entitled to your holiday pay. And that makes it abundantly clear to people.
And we're requiring a sick leave form now. 'Cause I don't think we have before.
It sounded like on that one, if you're, say you're sick the first day before, day after, you ain't getting paid for the holiday, right?
Again, it's policy determination,
Yeah.
but
So we can do that.
it would probably cut down on people extending that 4-day weekend or 3-day weekend to a 4-day or
You
5
would
day.
still get paid sick leave for the
You get
day,
your
for
sick
the
leave
holiday,
because you
but
called
you just
in,
won't
but
get
you
the
don't get
sick
your holiday
holiday
pay.
pay on top of it.
Yeah.
There's certain people that don't use it because there's no communication. It's not for the.
Now, I think it's under section 3 there, 40, subsection C, I think is what she has a question about.
Yeah.
About the form.
yeah, and that was, we could add form, we don't have to, we can add something.
Well, I hope in the future with that software that we use, people will be able to digitally request vacation, sick, personal.
I know it has a, like a scheduling feature that I haven't really gotten into, where they can basically schedule, vacation time, like a week or two from now. I don't know if that would meet the requirement, but I don't think currently we require a form if somebody calls in sick, because they're not requesting permission to be off. because it happened, you know.
Well, how many people are gonna come forward? I guess if that's the only way you can get paid, but.
Well, like you have a doctor's appointment next Thursday, you'll take a sick day next Thursday.
I don't know though that the scheduling service is ever gonna work because it's gonna be, the clerk's gonna know that I've got this person out for vacation and that person has got a doctor's appointment that day. I don't know that your time clock's ever gonna know how everybody else is scheduled in that same department.
What, with the center thing, the same issues?
The scheduling features per user and it's per department, so. So
But
when
I
you
had-
know somebody else is gonna be on vacation, that somebody else has already chosen July first.
Oh, no,
That's what I'm saying, I don't know if you had.
I mean, they,
Yeah.
the request.
That would be
The
my
supervisor
use
for
calendar for
the
that.
supervisor,
The
yeah.
supervisor department.
Microsoft Calendar, or not Microsoft, Outlook does a good job of that kind of stuff, if you know how to, use
I
the,
think it's always gonna have to be subject to the supervisor.
Yeah, exactly.
I had my
Yeah,
own
but
scheduling,
scheduling.
I had my own scheduling software, and I think they're my own.
Well, cause like Andrew, for instance, probably knows that a long holiday weekend is a weekend he may not want anybody off because you tend to be, July 4th is probably gonna be busier for you than June 5 or something that weekend. And so you might say nobody gets vacation that time.
We, in January, we put out blackout dates.
Yeah.
Like these are the dates.
That's what I was gonna say,
for the
that's
whole
what you were
year that
saying.
You're not allowed to take any.
my question really would, I mean, it doesn't affect me as much, but I, other than keeping track of the forms, is for the department heads and the supervisors, like, are they gonna wanna have their people filling out forms for sick time? I know they were supposed to do it for vacation time,
Or personal time.
like they're supposed to say, or at least get like an email or something, they're supposed to document they requested the time off. But sick time, I don't think that has ever been the case, it's just been, I would say it's.
Well,
You
is
want
it,
them
you
to turn in
don't
the
pay
form
your
or
sick
no?
time off, but you fill out the form when you get back so that it's classified as sick time, isn't that what the form is?
Yeah. I don't think, if somebody calls in sick, I go into the time clock, and I put their time in sick.
I guess it's really more like the people that are handling the employees, and so like, you know, Lynn or Robert.
Well, the thing, I think too, is that if they don't get charged the sick time, it's not something that's gonna be paid out, so they could be something attached to use sick time. If they're sick, but they would, start to pull the thread on that sort of,
And so you know what you guys think, how the employees are gonna, like, are they gonna be okay with filling out forms? Are your people that handle the employees gonna be okay filling out forms? And then if that's the case, then I know I gotta keep forms.
Well, all our department heads, correct me, y'all, Lynn, if someone's sick, do you put that sick time in, or does that go to the judge's office?
No, it's on the contract.
Are y'all?
I think it's simpler that way.
Alright,
We handle
we'll just
ourselves.
strike the word, the form out, and if they're all good with it.
It's just creating extra paperwork. It's,
If it works now.
I mean, it's documented on the time card, so.
As long as you all know, that's all that matters.
Or none of the rest, so I'm trees around here. Well then,
We're done with this.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think y'all just need to vote on, or do you wanna bring it back? once you
I think it makes
vote?
more sense to bring it back with changes, that way you all can review the final document that has everything
Red line.
that we discussed. If I missed something, or we've got it on 180, we can address it later.
Or if you hear from your constituents after tonight that they like this.
Corey, when you send out the email with the changes, can you highlight the changes so we don't have to?
I'll highlight, I'll underline, I'll do the track changes from
Okay.
the PDF of the,
That way we don't have to deal with our program.
Yeah.
We've already.
and then I'll send out the track changes.
So it's fine for us to approve this a week from Monday. Okay. Alright. Alright, that takes care of number 8, let's do number 10, the invoices and transfers. I passed out a sheet, and the reason we had to do this special is, Robert's couple of guys is getting on a plane and flying to Washington DC and driving our new to us ambulance home tomorrow.
I thought it was in Virginia.
Well, it's
close, 40 minutes.
they're flying to Washington.
But are they flying?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, the ticket, 2 tickets were cheaper than what the gas would cost. I know. Or it's,
And it's a
we
really small
estimated.
plane, they're like right on top of each other, like puddle jumpers.
But we had to, shuffle around. You know, we took that 11,250 out of the line. And then we took lines that were not going to be utilized by the 1st of July, left enough in there for sure cover.
Sure, you ain't getting on the printer.
She already got it, so, but nonetheless, this is enough to cover it, so we don't have invoices, I just need a motion to approve the transfers, and then we'll give Robert a check.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion by Mike, seconded by Zach, to approve the transfers that are on the sheet presented. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. We'll get your check, Robert. And then, I'm going to make a motion to go into executive session as per KRS 61-810, whichever letter has to do with employees, and then 61-810, whichever one has to do with litigation, potential litigation.
Second.
All right, motion by Zach, seconded by Mike, go into executive session for those 2 letters that were mentioned. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. So everybody is free to go. Very much.
Thank you.
We need to sign that check.
$83.45. Just changed.
I don't know,